I was really tempted to just leave it on Shit Pancake's house. That is fun for like a solid 10 minutes before we actually started.
That would be funny.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Matriarchy. It is I, God Empress Jesse Milestone, and with me as always is my other half, the Spock to my Kirk, the Neo to my Water, Anna, that Star Wars girl.
Hello. It's my fault. I woke up late because I was up until the wee hours of the almost noons. So I'm still sleepy, but I'm here.
You know what? That is totally fine because actually right at go time, I would not have been ready to go either because I needed to call the vet just to check in to make sure that what my cat looked like was normal. For context, this is what my cat looks like right now. That's Pancake's face.
Oh my god.
So I'm just gonna leave this here for a little while. So those of you who are wondering about what's up with little Pancake, some of you are aware, some of you are not. He had a little operation remove stinkier, and I'll actually, if you want to see what that was all about, he made a cute little video about it. If you're not subscribed to him, you can subscribe to his little channel too. So it turns out he had a giant polyp in his ear that was obstructing his ear canal. A polyp is a growth that it's attached by like a stalk at the base, and it grows out and then mushrooms up into a head. So it has a stalk and a bigger mass at the top. So the good thing about polyps is that typically they're not usually cancerous. Some of them can be precancerous. The one we had pulled out is going to a lab to get tested and whatnot. So we'll find out results and whatnot to see if there's anything to be concerned with there. There shouldn't be. It's actually apparently inflammatory polyps are fairly common in the ears or nose of young cats. He's had some respiratory infections like when he was younger. He had a really bad one when he was really little. Something like that can trigger a polyp growth. So it had gotten really big, I guess, and attached at another point in the ear too, and it was blocking most of the ear canal, which is why he kept getting ear infections. That's why, if you were following his channel, he had the stink ear problem, because he would always get an ear infection because gunk would build up behind the polyp. It couldn't clear, and then it would just ooze out, and
lovely.
It was very disgusting for a very long time. And so finally, this last infection, when it got cleared up, we kept taking him back in for follow-ups because we wanted to make sure it was going to stay clear this time. And when it was cleared out, that was when the vet was able to see the polyp. Mm-hmm. And so that procedure was just under $2,000. So that, is making rent a really fun adventure at this particular point in time. So the thing with there was the good and bad, which is the operation was successful. They were able to remove as much of the mass as he could by going into the ear canal. They don't know, and they really won't be able to tell right away if they got it all. And even if they did, there's nothing you can do at that point, because he pulled out as much as he could, and then he cauterized what was there. So you try to burn it off and kill whatever's left, hoping that it's not going to regrow. The thing is if you don't get all of it, there's something like an 80% regrowth rate for the ones in the ear. So,
isn't that fun?
Yeah, and if that happens, basically that it tells you it's going to come back unless they get all of it. The procedure they have to do for that is, you can see the big wide open ear. They'd basically cut at the base of the ear into the ear area and open up the scalp, and have to go in from the outside to make sure they can actually see and without damaging the eardrum or the oral nerves, and scrape out all of the gunk, all the polyp, all the root of it, to make sure it doesn't come back. And that procedure could be up to 2.5 times what this one was, or more. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I also need to be prepared in case it does. Because it's a total toss-up. If they got it all, we should be clear. We should be good. It's 50% or lower, depending on how much of it they were able to get through that method. If they really get the full thing, every single bit of it, it's really, really low. If they didn't get it all, the odds are going to go really, really high. So I need to be prepared. And so I have if you guys want to help the little kitty out, he does have a crowdfunder. I will post that as well. If you can't give, totally get it. But if you can share it, that means so much, because maybe you'll hit someone who can. So his crazy little face that you're seeing right now. So he had his little operation yesterday. They went into the ear, all that stuff. We brought him home, and it causes a lot of inflammation on that whole side of the face. So we got some eye drops in that eye for that. Plus this, you can see that lid, that inner lid coming up. It's this syndrome that's a very normal side effect from operations or any kind of trauma in and around the head that usually goes away on its own after a few days. But for right now, our cat looks insane. And he's adorable. Someone was asking, what did the vet say? So his name on paper is Mal, because his given name originally was Mal, as in Malcolm Reynolds, as in Mal and Jane. And he aimed to misbehave all the time, which was very apropos for him. His stage name is Shit Pancake, so we just use Mal at the vet. So yeah, that is the...
I wasn't nauseous or feeling sick before.
Uh-huh.
But now I think I might throw up from that description.
Oh, was that too in depth? Because the vet was actually hoping to show it to us, and I wanted
no, I don't need to show. No, what got me was you describing it filling up behind it and it gassing up behind, and I'm just picturing something just, which is weird because I mean, you know me, I like gross things. I watch Dr. Pimple Popper religiously, but your description.
Oh yeah, you would have loved the bloody pus he was shaking all over this thing, the cone.
Oh my god, stop.
It's delicious.
Stop.
Yes! Finally got you back for that fucking time you showed us the pimple
popper. Oh, hey, look at this too, Jess. I just got your messages on Twitter.
Seriously?
Yeah, I just got it.
So the final delay in us getting the show started was me trying to send Anna the messages on Twitter, me sending them, seeing that they've sent, her not getting them, me refreshing Twitter on my end to have them just magically disappear. But I guess they now magically reappeared after their brief stint in the cybersphere. Don't you love it? So, guys, are you enjoying the sight of my pathetic little putty tat in his little cone, or is it making you upset or disturbed because his eye looks so crazy? One, if you want to keep it. Two, if you'd like me to make it go away. But yes. So, and also, if you're just joining us, make sure you press the like button, and we'll switch gears topic-wise here a little bit before Anna loses her breakfast.
I didn't have breakfast.
Last night's dinner.
Hot Cheetos.
So let me see. I actually I've not even gone in to check. You had Cheetos for dinner?
Well, I didn't have dinner. I don't really eat meals. When I'm hungry, I go and I grab something and I eat it and I get back to work.
I mean, yeah, that's reasonable. I just realized I forgot to go in here and actually add the links to your channels. So it says sub to Anna and her live channel and her art channel with just no links. So I really want you to sub to her channels, but I want you to do the work to go find them. Okay, here we go. That's Star Wars Girl Live, and I'm very glad to see that your art channel now has over 1,000 subs, and therefore I can just search it the easy way too. So,
oh, really?
That's fantastic. Nice. Yep, you can just add it now on in the description. So that's brilliant. Makes it look so much cleaner and neater and nicer. That's done. Huzzah. So let's pop into our super fancy live dashboard that's supposed to wow and impress me. I love how all of my things are like not monetized, not monetized, not monetized. Why? There's no reason why these streams should all have limited monetization. No reason. Anyway, whatever. So I'll deal with that in a sec. Where am I? Boom. Loading. Alrighty, here we go. So, get to a few of these supers before we dive into everything else. And guys, again, if you're just joining, also make sure you press the like button because we have way more people watching than impressions of the like button, and that is changing quickly. So thanks, guys. You're the best. All right, got some awesome super chats rolling in already, and gonna kick off some great conversation. So let's dive in without further ado. All right. Mr. Another says, man, you two had a week on social media discussing armor and anatomy with individuals who are so intellectual, mature, and very reasonable. I hope Queen of Swords and Will Wheaton's understudy is doing well. Thank you, Mr. Another. Doing just fine, and I've really been enjoying schooling these assholes. And the Price is Right review says, yo, sup, Jesse and Deanna Troy, stay awesome.
No.
Why are you Deanna Troy now?
I don't know. I'm not about it, though.
All right. Hawktigus' History Corner says, part of me wants to cobble up a set of fem armor out of steel targets and test it to put this whole thing to rest. Bo-Katan's armor is perfectly fine, particularly for people who wear armor a lot. Absolutely, Hawktigus' History Corner. Definitely. So this is actually a great way to kick off one of our first topics of conversation. Okay, sorry. Just like, what the hell? I thought it was okay. Sorry. Yes, but okay. What was I just saying? Oh yeah. So apparently, it is anti-feminist to make armor specifically designed to be comfortable for women's bodies, according to Uber feminist Anita Facemuseum.
Anita is a fucking idiot. I just realized my video on this passed 100,000 views, which it hasn't happened in a while since I was. That only happens now when I do thirst videos. So I'm like, oh, cool. But I call her a cunt, I specifically say, I'm like, if you don't want backlash, just don't be a fucking cunt. Like, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Apparently it is for her, though. So people seem to really like that. And people are like, if you make a t-shirt of that, I'll buy it. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I can, but I guess I can.
I love this business. I love how people like her think the world works. People in her corner, how they think the world works, where it's like, let's take, one of the other topics we're going to get to today, where you post something completely innocuous. People decide it means something different, could treat you like complete garbage over it, act like total assholes, and feel completely entitled to treat you like an asshole over it. You, meanwhile, don't sit there crying, oh, poor me. I can't believe the backlash. It is so terrible. It's so unfair. No, you just sit there and double down and say, fuck you guys, you're being dumb. Meanwhile, she does something to earn backlash by saying something so idiotic and ill-informed, and then wants to turn around and try to jump on that and capitalize on that too, going, oh, poor me, I'm the victim. Everyone's attacking me over my comments. How dare they attack me? It's so unfair. Like, what a fuck. The double standard couldn't be more apparent than it is in a situation like this one.
Yep. No, I mean, she's just, I didn't know too much about Anita because I wasn't around for the whole like Gamergate thing, but the fact that she goes to her defense and she's like, so now I'm being harassed because I'm a woman and I gave an opinion on the most popular franchise of all time, and now people are attacking me for my opinion. And she posts a picture, like screenshots comparing her new tweet to her original tweet about The Mandalorian, and it made me realize, I'm like, bitch, you'll fucking complain about anything, because in the first tweet from Mando season 1, she complains that there's no like speaking female characters. Like, well, if you actually fucking watch the episode, you'll see the leader of the Mando clan is a woman, and guess what? She fucking speaks. But Anita, she doesn't. She's like, wow, there's no women. You get an episode where literally women are fucking running the damn show. We get Bo-Katan, who we got to see in Clone Wars and in Rebels, finally in a live action show, and a woman comes in, saves the fucking day, and is basically, wham-mansplaining to Mando the whole time, which I personally didn't have a problem with because I think the Mando's a fucking idiot. And so I'm like, yes, please, somebody please go and teach him how to be a fucking human. But she's finally getting, like, this episode seems like it was kind of made for women that feel insecure, that need to see other women being in charge. And what does she do? They have boob armor. It's like they literally gave you exactly what you like were complaining about in that first tweet. They
wanted.
And now they gave you what you want, so you want to find something else to complain about. There's boob armor. It's like, it's not even fucking boob armor. It's just like a curved chest plate, so that way it fits a woman's body easier.
Exactly. It's just tailored to the shit. Look at the pants. The pants that they're wearing are tailored differently for the two women than they are for the dude. Why is that?
It's always been that way. It's been that way in the Clone Wars and Rebels. Come on.
And in real fucking life. Because our bodies are shaped differently and clothes are going to fit us differently. Even if you wore the same shit, it would look different. Like if you put a flat chest plate of armor that unyielding on someone with tits that are big enough, her tits will just push the entire plate of armor further away from her body. Because peeling them away or pretending that big tits are just an optional part of a woman's body does not make them so. Does not make them disappear or make them intangible. In fact, but when feminism made sense, part of feminism was women finally being able to talk about big-chested women, finally being able to talk about what a stigma it was to have a big chest. And to be able to say, like, look, this is not as great of a gift as you think it is, and feel comfortable talking about it and discussing it and not be shamed for that. What's happening now? Because earlier it was always like the male gaze and, okay, how dare you get rid of your tits? What's happening now? It's the fucking feminists. It's the fucking feminists shaming the big-titted women. Treating the big, trying to...
I remember my very, very first video on YouTube when I posted my Last Jedi review. I had my regular picture up and it was like my name and everything because I didn't have like a channel yet. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just posted my Last Jedi review and it was too long to post on Facebook, but I posted on YouTube and I sent the link to my friends and family because everyone was asking me. And I was wearing a normal like black shirt and I have, a larger chest. And so like, obviously you could see some cleavage, but it wasn't like I was being a hoochie. It was just like a normal amount that shows when I wear normal V-neck shirts. Yep. And there were some dudes that were calling me a thought. I didn't know what that meant. So I thought that they were just spelling a word wrong. Yeah. But then like freaking women were like, oh, you're just doing this so you can get men's attention. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized people were crazy. So I changed my channel name and I removed my picture. But it's like, I explained in my video, I'm like, this is what happens when I wear stuff. And oh my God, Jesse, I had, for those of you that are too sensitive for this word, because it actually is a thing sometimes, not to be that way, but mansplaining is a thing. And I got mansplained to the texture of women's boobs and how, it was bad. This guy was basically explaining, he's like, well, you've obviously never worn armor and you've obviously never done this and this. Oh, and I explained how I'm like, okay, even when I go play laser tag and I go through this whole analysis about how when like that, because I said, usually I think everyone, like not everyone has worn a bulletproof vest. Not everyone has worn like body armor. But I was like, I think it's safe to assume that almost everyone has played laser tag. And I was explaining the difference because they make laser tag unisex unless you go to the fancy ones. And I was explaining how when I play laser tag, it really bothers me because like, first off, I'm tiny. So they either make me wear the kid ones or they give me whatever, the grown-up ones. And I specifically say, it doesn't fit me right. But this is what happens when you have a larger chest and you put something that's flat on it and it moves around and then it ends up going at an angle sometimes and it starts like rubbing up against your stomach and you start getting a rash and chafing there. It doesn't matter if you're wearing clothes or not, it's going to rub up against you differently. And I explained that and this dude was basically like, women's boobs aren't like hard rocks. They're actually soft and this. And so when you put something on it, it's going to mold to whatever it touches. And he's like, you've clearly never worn body armor. You've clearly never done this. Obviously the laser tag stuff you had was cheap. And I was like, what the fuck?
Wow, dude, you've clearly never done third grade science. Boobs have mass. They don't shrink when you put yes, they change shape.
but they're not fucking liquid. And
I
know. And they don't fucking...
I'll send you a screenshot of it because I don't know if I should block out the dude's name or not. But here's the thing. It's not, there's nothing wrong with like if I don't understand, because I explain, I'm like, okay, I'm not too up to date on how the Mandalorian helmet armor works, but that's because I was never really interested in Mandalorians. I like the Jedi. And so I clearly explain that. And so people are in the, you see like all the comments that are like, oh, Anna, here you like, let me give you this in-depth analysis on how like the Mandalorian helmet actually helps you to see 360. And it was really informative. And a majority of the people that were leaving me those comments were guys. That's not mansplaining when I clearly state like, oh, I don't really understand. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. Yep. When you go out of your way to like be an asshole, and I'm like, thank you. I really needed a man to explain to me the texture of boobs. It's not like I don't have two of them, and it's not like I don't have to deal with them every single day of my life. Thank you.
I just love that attitude too of like, really, you think that it is easier for you to imagine what it would be like to have tits than it would be for me to imagine what it would feel like to have an immovable metal plate on top of my extant, very real tits. Like,
well, it's like I've worn a bulletproof vest. I've worn these things, but it's just like, all right, dude, whatever.
Dude, I have put on weight because of the coronavirus. So when I put on my fencing gear right now to get my lessons and stuff, it's uncomfortable. I got to squish them in. And yeah, they change shape and they mold to that shape. And guess what? They are squished in and they are unfucking comfortable. It is incredibly uncomfortable to be wearing something that is not yielding and does not have enough room for your tits. And that's coming from somebody who has always been a small-titted person. Even I have very small tits, have been inconvenienced, have felt the inconvenience of not having enough room for them. And I have friends who are like considering surgery, reduction surgery, because they have back problems level. Like I had a friend, coached in fencing in college. She couldn't do a full push-up because her tits were too big. So we had to figure out how to adjust pretty much every single form of physical activity for her to work around her boobs. Do you think a fucking dude who has never had tits on his body is going to get that or understand what that fucking feels like? Of course not. And just that kind of attitude, like that's the social justice warrior attitude, though. That's it to a T. Is this idea that somehow, even though you are the exact category of people that's supposed to be the most evil, the white man and the privileged white woman and whatever, that somehow you have this incredible amount of empathy so that you and you alone know how everybody feels better than they do. You know how women feel better than they do. You know how people of color feel better than they do. You know how amputees feel better than they do. Like, well, what?
That's exactly it. And I'm just like, dude, I even though like everything you're complaining about, I thoroughly explained in the video. So you obviously like weren't paying attention, but thank you for explaining to me the texture of boobs. It's not like I have them. I don't show them. So maybe, people that watch my channel that don't pay too much attention think, because freaking John thought I had an A cup and I was like, no. I'm just very, very good at like hiding them. And I've learned that because of the YouTube channel, because a woman like Anita, if she took one look at me and I was just wearing like normally like what I wear around, she would probably call me names or like degrade me in some way and saying, oh, you're just doing that like for the male gaze. It's like, no, I'm wearing this because first off, it's cute. Second off, it's comfy. And I like it because there's nothing wrong with wearing like a V-neck, or even when I came and visited you and Jeff and I was wearing my little romper and I sat like I was uncomfortable. So when we did our stream together, I sat with a pillow in front of me because I was uncomfortable, like on camera.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
But you saw me in real life. Would you say like what I was wearing was slutty in any way?
No. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you wear something I would describe as slutty.
Yeah, but
you have bigger tits than I do. If someone in the chat was saying, "Yo, Jesse, you don't have any boobs," there are pictures that prove otherwise. So you can they're not hard to find. Yeah. No, yeah, it's so fucking stupid. Like, I don't understand the cognitive dissonance that leads you to be like, I'm a champion for women, so let me go explain to these women how
how I know how to be a woman better than they do. Like, at what point how do you not realize, that you've created this logical fallacy for yourself? I just don't understand. Hurts my head to try to think about. Read this super chat. Wicked Steel says, how does it feel, Anna, to be disgusted like that? Ha! Turnabout's fair play. Love you. Have you been able to find my code red out there?
No, I haven't.
No code red. Darn.
It's infuriating.
David Myers, thank you so much for the incredibly generous super chat. It says, Jesse, good luck with SP. Thank you so much. He's napping right here next to me, looking with his little crazy eyes. So thank you so much for hoping. We're really hoping that everything, that this is it and there's no repeat. Our fingers crossed and setting up our positive vibes. And Caesarea Japan, or as we like to know him on this channel occasionally, Caesar Jorpin, Draw Sputin on Twitter has a cartoon on Boobgate that mocks the controversy nicely. Awesome. I'll have to go look for that. Also,
I think I have it. Let me go find it.
If you can pull it up, we'll share it. Also, I saw the pics. The boob armor parts aren't even noticeable. Right? That's the whole ridiculous thing. She's making such a huge fucking stink about it, where if you go and look, they are really as minimal as possible. In fact, they are probably not that... If the actors underneath them are larger chested, they're probably not that comfortable for them, because they probably still don't have enough room for the boobs.
No, I think the woman that does play Bo-Katan, I think she does have a larger chest.
Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, she's got a good rack. She's got a sizable rack. So it's probably not enough room for her in that. Also, that's hilarious. I'm enjoying this heavily. We'll leave that one up for a minute.
I like this one too. That's funny.
I fucking love it. And Macy Van Dusen, thank you for the super sticker. Let's see. I gotta go. You guys can see it, I know, but I gotta kick over onto the other screen to see what it was. Black Cat, meow, is the kitty cat in honor of our little pancake. So thank you, Macy. He's been super supportive as always. Such a good dude. So thank you guys. Hut, Sweet Pea. That's today's show. Tits and Vagina. Also, happy birthday, Sweet Pea. Let's get a happy birthday in the chat.
Happy birthday.
That is today. So let's get some happy birthdays, or if you're extra lazy, you can just drop a 1 and we'll know what you mean. Yeah, just 10 days before my own. So 10 days before my big one.
Are you gonna do anything for your birthday?
Not anything with people, just me and Jeff, and a couple things we're gonna do. I figured since Toronto put the kibosh on the big plans, I was just gonna roll those over next year, and I'm gonna do a you only turn 30 once for my 31st birthday. And yes, you will need to be in attendance. Oh, and a super sticker from Ninja Lawyer Steve as well. And he sends us a 1-up. Thank you, Ninja Lawyer Steve. I'll pass that on to Pancake, who's probably in search of an extra life right about now. So, little boy. And Anita's pathologically psycho. David S., I don't doubt it. She scares me.
Who?
So, Anita Sarkeesian.
She scares you?
Like, in terms of, like, I think she's a scary person because I think she does actually buy into the bullshit that she spews.
You don't think she's just full of it?
No, I think she's a believer. I think she believes this shit. And I think I think it's not necessarily that she believes all, like, the feminism crap, but whatever. I think she firmly believes that she is this fucking champion for women and this incredible crusader for all that is good and right. And I think her belief in her absolute morality is what makes her scary. Like, I think she's the kind of person who, if she thought she was doing the thing that was morally right, there would be no means that weren't justified by the ends. You know? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, she'll do whatever she can to get what she wants.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean, I know people are saying, because a lot of people are like, don't give her attention, don't give her attention. I'm like, no, we need to call out this bullshit. And I think, I mean, it sucks, but, like, because the second a man does it, she's like, "Oh, these men are attacking me." But what defense does she have against me or you calling her out on this?
Exactly.
She can say internalized misogyny, but everyone knows that that's fucking bullshit. I mean, you can just get Mara.
She can call internalized misogyny on, all of the International Fencing Federation for requiring or for creating and offering and requiring as a safety precaution an additional chest protector that is weirdly shaped a lot like Mandalorian boob armor to wear under your jacket to protect your chest. It has nothing to do with look, shape, or anything. You don't even see it. It goes under your jacket, and it is shaped like boobs because women have fucking boobs. And sorry, Anita, but that's not internalized misogyny. That's fucking facts. And if you're sad about the fact that you probably teasing small or whatever, bullshit, to get over in therapy and stop taking it out on the rest of the goddamn world. And I'm with you, Anna. You're absolutely right. And Jeff said something similar on the High Council last night, where the thing is, she already has the ear of important people. She's already had influence in entertainment. So the reason why it's good to call attention to her in this way is because she has the power she wants to have. We need to make sure that people who don't already know about her know who the real Anita Sarkeesian is before she suckers them into her little game as well.
Well, because, I mean, I didn't play The Last of Us or The Last of Us 2, but didn't she ruin it? Isn't that because of her? Because the guy's friends with Anita Sarkeesian?
Yeah. Hodgins' History Corner says there's a hilarious pic of a Mando woman being told to take off her chest piece because it's sexist, and when she does, her huge chest pops out, and she's told to put them back. She says no. Nice.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That one sounds spot on. Perfect.
Well, because, I mean, they're under this impression that all women have, like, A or B cups. Well, probably to them it's A cups. And that women don't have larger chests. And I'm like, you do realize that fantasy wouldn't be around if there weren't actually women with those body types?
Yeah.
And, I mean, oh my gosh, even to bring it into what we're going to talk about, like, a little later, one of the psycho mob person that was going off on me about She-Ra, they literally went to my Instagram, found a post from months ago, bitched about the body type, and like, women have A cups, and I explained to them, and I'm like, I was drawing that live. I had to use myself as a model and pose. So you're looking at my body right there. Does my body disgust you?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and it's just like they're completely in denial that women with different body types from what they want exist. And so when you explain to them, it's my body, and then they're just like, oh, well, there's women with other body types. I'm like, I know that, but I was drawing it, and the easiest thing I can do is stand up and pose in front of a mirror and draw that.
Exactly. Like, if I'm basing it, like, your argument, it becomes immediately invalid when I say I'm basing this off my own body. I'm not basing this off of some weird, unrealistic beauty standard I pulled out of my brain. I fucking looked at my body and drew it. So if you're saying there's something wrong with what I drew, then you're saying there's something wrong with my body. So are you trying to tell me you think there's something inherently wrong with my body? Because that doesn't sound very feminist, now does it?
That's exactly what I said. And the person was like, well, I have nothing wrong with your body or my body, but you need to understand that A cups exist. And I was like, I never denied that A cups existed.
I don't have to draw them. You draw them. So let's see.
Oh, well, I found out that person has like a gay, or actually, I wouldn't even say, because I mean, it's between two men, but one is a monkey and one is a human. So it's like, so already this isn't the most sound individual when they're doing a romance between a monkey and a human.
Right.
You know, they have a little comic about bestiality. So I'm like, all right, this probably isn't the most sane person.
So here's Katie Sackhoff's chest. She has cleavage. There's a cleavage line right there.
I was going to say.
And then if we want, we can bring up a picture of actually have a nice zoomed in one right there already. So there's Katie Sackhoff's chest, not in armor, right? Here's Katie Sackhoff's chest in Mandalorian armor. It's going to be tiny. Shit. Hold on. There we go. Okay. It looks bigger, not in armor.
Yeah.
So once again, you're bitching that her tits look smaller than they would have looked if she wasn't wearing any armor, because for some reason we should just assume everybody in armor is male. We should only design armor for men's bodies. Or are we saying we shouldn't put tits on the front of armor because it will distract men on the battlefield? And we obviously have to make sure that women are always dressing in a way that is appropriate for the men around them and not distracting. Like, there is no argument to be made against the boob armor that isn't sexist. I challenge anyone to give me an argument against boob armor that isn't sexist.
It's too small on her.
There you go. It should be bigger.
There you go.
It should be bigger because that's not enough room for her tits. Exactly. Also, I don't know if you saw this. Wicked Steel says I can send you some Mountain Dew Code Red if you would like. Also, love your video, Anna, on the She-Ra, and loved the OG cartoon.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that. But then because the psychos, they're all like, actually, we'll talk about that when we get to that topic.
We'll be there real soon. We'll hit super chats and we'll dive
also, there's over 120 people in here. Please smash the like button. It would really help out with the algorithm, because I noticed that this stream was shadow banned on Jesse's channel. Yeah, I couldn't find it when I went to your channel, so I had to manually type in your channel, and it's the first thing that pops up.
Shocking.
I know.
So that is good to know. So make sure you are sharing that link around and dropping likes on it, because all these things can break through that shadow ban if it gets enough positive momentum in the algorithm. So
have you thought about creating like a second channel just to see by uploading videos there if they get traction?
Yeah. Maybe I haven't thought of it specifically that way, but that might be something I look at.
A thing that a lot of people do, like Yellow Flash, his channel, even though it's growing, like YouTube definitely, has him on some kind of list and like instantly like demonetizes some of his videos. He actually has another channel that he started that, he tells everyone, this is my other channel. So if you don't get traction from this one, there's traction over on that one. And he said it's been growing a lot.
Huh. Interesting. That might be something I look into. I got some other balls in the air right now too, though, so I may just look into avenues because right now I'm kind of looking a little bit at like a couple avenues other than YouTube, to try to move YouTube into a supplementary form outlet for my work, because I don't want to rely on them. And I mean, figure YouTube is moving itself into that model. YouTube is clearly setting itself up as hey, this is the place where established entities, organizations, companies, famous people, whatever's, production studios, what have yous, can drop extra things, supplementary things to whatever their brand is. That's how YouTube is changing itself. That's a very safe model in terms of profitability and in terms of, the changes in social justice and what the norm is across platforms. Is a very safe model to adopt. And so if that's the way they're going, that's how I would like to, change my usage to reflect the primary function of the platform. So I'm going to be looking at some other avenues for hosting the bulk of my creativity, and using YouTube, maybe for live streams or whatever's, a few videos here and there, as a supplementary form. So stay tuned for more on that soon. Macy Van Dusen says, "Hail the Matriarchy!" Thank you, Macy, and thank you so much for contributing to Pancakes GoFundMe. I'll drop the link down in the bottom in a little bit again for that. If you're new to that story, the little boy needed a polyp removed from his ear. It was very.
Oh God, not this again.
I'm not going to talk about the stuff. I'm going to tell you stuff and just say it was a very costly process, and if it grows back, he'll need an even more costly operation to do that. And so, I'm trying to raise money to cover the one he just had, and then for the possibility of another one. And if that possibility does not become a reality, that money will all just go towards animals in need. Shadow Warchild says, "Why is that the most relevant influencers are the most irrelevant? The most, quote, relevant influencers are the most irrelevant." Because their relevance has been manufactured because they can't get it on their own. People with manufactured relevance, like anybody who you can clearly tell, has backing behind them, some sort of sponsorship is being put out there. You're being told by other, quote, credible sources that this person is an influencer. Those are people who could not become influencers on their own. For example, I recently heard an interesting story about some people who will remain anonymous who were, I thought it was really funny that this person was bragging about being represented by a big shot literary agent, and using that to prove that their resume was as impressive as some other people's. And I thought, well, that's a really funny thing to say, because if you had the same big shot literary agent as all these other people, and you had the same amount of talent as all those other people, you'd be in the same position as those A-listers now, not crying for relevance on your Twitter page. So so that's the whole point, though. These people are people, so they went another route because whatever they were trying to become screenwriters or whatever they were trying to do didn't pan out. They went another route, made connections, found other ways to do things, and good for them. Kudos to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But people in those positions always you're going to feel that manufactured irrelevance. And so when you pick that up, so back to your point, Shadow Warchild, that's what you're picking up on, is the fact that the only reason these people, you're being constantly told that these people are relevant is because they can't become relevant on their own. So that's why there's an actual answer to that. It's not just a fun little It's the machine. It's the media engine.
Well, like when I asked, because I had no idea who Anita Sarkeesian was until I think maybe last year for something, and then I had never heard her name. And I'm somebody that I work in the industry currently and have been since. I was smart enough because one of my teachers in college, he explained to me, he's just because he's from China. And so when they come over from China or Korea or Japan, even Japanese, not as much, but definitely with Chinese and Korean, they pick American names. So they have their real name with, their Chinese or, their Korean name, and then they pick American names. Yeah. And so that way it's easier for people to say. And when you're working, it's not in, I don't know what they call it in Korean, but the way that their language is written, the word for that. And so I was like, oh, and he's just yeah. And he's it's actually really smart to have, what is it called? I'm blanking. Sorry, guys. I'm still my brain is waking up, even though we've been doing this for almost an hour. What is it called? Not a secret identity, but you just have, not an alias, but it's you have your working name, and then you your professional working name, and then you have your actual your real
name. Your on what you'd call that too, your and here we have for entertainment we have a stage name and stuff, but
yeah, I guess well, so,
but a professional name and a private or personal name kind of.
Exactly. So when my teacher was explaining to me that in college, he's like, oh yeah, it's so nice because he's when somebody emails me, I know if they want me, because he worked at Lucasfilm. He's I know if it's if I'm getting a professional email from people that I work with, or you students and stuff. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so he gave me the best advice I think anyone's ever given me, which is when you're working, use a different name that's not your birth given name. And when you sign paperwork and stuff, obviously, things are going to be, you're going to have to do special loops to that. But it's been worth it because, I've been doxxed. And so even though my real name is out there and I don't advertise it, it happened when my sister passed away. But, because I have never worked under my real name, nobody can go into Hollywood and find any of the projects that I've worked on or done work for, or any of the internships I did, or any of the people that I know, because I'm known in that, and all my name and all the credits is underneath my professional name, which is not that Star Wars girl to blow everyone's mind. But why am I even talking about this? I'm sorry. I'm having the biggest brain fart.
Professional name.
Oh,
Where do we?
So okay, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So me working in the industry, I had never heard of this woman, and so I'm like, so she doesn't touch everyone or everything. You have to be kind of tuned in, and I think it's because she has friends that are at the top is the only reason she has any relevance.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's exactly what exactly what we were, what, and that's back to the point again though of as to why us giving her this attention is not the problem that people say it is, because her relevance is manufactured. It's not because she organically ever became popular because of her ideas or her personality or shit like that. Her relevance has always been manufactured. Well, so when we call attention to her, we're not giving her more relevance. We are having our say. We're putting our stamp on her legacy. Because her relevance has nothing to do with her popularity. Her cries for popularity are for her own personal, which is why. So people who are looking for organic relevance need that attention, good or bad. People who have manufactured relevance already, they don't need that attention to get relevance. They are looking for that attention to get validation. So when she puts out dumb shit about this Mandalorian boom armor, she's looking to be the spokesperson for the next dumb movement about feminism in Star Wars or something. And so when she gets this backlash and more people, especially more and more women, tell her why she's so stupid and wrong and anti-feminist for doing this, it's going to eat her up. So this is one of the situations where attention, heap it on her. Tell her exactly how you feel about her and why. But do it in ways that are not without the personal attacks, because if it's personal attacks, she can just write you off as your toxic, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. You want to tell her exactly why the things she said is anti-feminist and is very against women's rights. Or better yet, what would be even better, this is what we should do, is we should all start tweeting at her as if we were like hardcore, like
feminists.
No, as if we were super misogynist dudes being like, thank you so much for saying what you said. You're so right. Boobs have no place in body armor. You know, men have always been traditionally soldiers. If women want to be soldiers, that's fine, but they got to figure out how to fit their bodies into our armor. We're not going to manufacture armor. Like, act like she's some sort of like alt-right hero, basically, for saying this.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, here's the thing. For somebody that's never heard of Anita, and let's say you're working in the industry. Let's say the way I found out about Anita was from a coworker, and they say, "Oh yeah, like Anita, she's doing all of this stuff to like help women because women are too sexualized in video games." And I would be like, well, "What video games specifically are you talking about?" Because if you're saying like, "Yeah," for example, I really like Blizzard's work. Obviously, I'm not too fond of what their company has been doing recently, but I love World of Warcraft. And yeah, the women are sexualized in that. I don't think it's a bad thing, though. I think it's more like, look at this. I mean, yeah, obviously her armor isn't covering the parts of her body that if you wanted to kill her, you obviously can, but she's got magic and stuff. But so I never looked at it as a bad way. I'm like, if a woman in a video game in this fantasy world where she could easily like just get shot with an arrow is going to wear that, I'm like, she must be pretty fucking powerful. So I always looked at it in a cool sense. But let's say I were to go look up Anita Sarkeesian, but I'm under the impression that she's a colleague that's trying to help women. And I go onto YouTube and I see, oh no, here, instead of seeing all the propaganda, seeing all the people that are saying, look at what she did now, like how hypocritical, how fucked up that is.
Exactly. So precisely. So this is what the attention we're trying to bring is exactly what you're saying. Attention to people who could be suckered into her cult, who can be saved by being shown the light that she is actually a two-faced, self-interested, horrible, heinous bitch.
Yeah, and people like they get these fake narratives and then they just start spewing it. Like even when I was dealing with all the She-Ra, somebody's like, "Aren't you the person that harassed a Rose Tico cosplayer?" And I'm like, "I never harassed her. I asked her if I could take a picture. I asked if I could take a selfie with her. She said yes. She even said in her tweet that I was really nice to her, which I was because I'm actually spoiler alert, I'm actually a nice person. As long as you're not an asshole to me, I have no reason to be mean to you."
Accurate. This is accurate. So Thank you, Hodges History Corner, because I was able to go pull this up. Twitter handle I mentioned pictures apparently at Deputy Rust Art. I had to go back a ways to find this because man, this guy, there's a lot of art going on.
That I saw, but I saw one where like it's literally like take it off, and then she does, and then her boobs pop out, and they're like put it back on, and she's like, no, I'm comfy now.
That's cool. So this one is getting was getting some attention is art. So the reason why I wanted to pull this up though was because, I know we just got done talking about how ridiculous it is for a man to think he understands how women's boobs work better than a woman. But this artist clearly knows how women's boobs work better than Anita Sarkeesian. Because the reason I brought this up, look at the little sketch on the far right, backplate. Because he understands that in order to create armor, to bind and hold up a chest of that size, you would, yes, need to attach it to the back plate to give it reinforcement to hold it in place. Like, the way that's designed specifically, it's designed around the idea that you bound the chest and put that over and had to hold it in tightly and firmly to support it there. Like, it's not perfect and it wouldn't work. The exact proportions, from one to the other wouldn't work, especially because the way he drew her on the left, she has fake tits and they're not as compressible. So that aside, because no one's organic tits look like that unless they've been really impressively sculpted by very impressive and also invisible supports. But yet still, this is more better than Anita Sarkeesian's understanding of how boobs work in armor.
Well, I mean, men are perfectly capable of understanding women's anatomy, but like when you lecture a woman, this is how boobs feel. It's like, right? Really? I wouldn't know because it's not like I don't have them. Goddamn.
Exactly. When you get tits and try to bind them, smush them, that's one the thing too is like I have occasionally for like costumes or something dressed as a male character. And I've never bothered to like actually try to bind them or anything because I've never cared that much to do it. But I'm like, even me, and I'm a very small chested person, if I wear one of my super flattening sports bras that just do nothing for it and just smush them down, you can still tell that I have tits. Like, they don't go away. They don't disappear. It's not like you just put a plank of wood on them and they just suck back into your body. It's not like we can just suck them in and like, oh, we'll just displace all this weight somewhere else and be flat-chested. Wouldn't that be an impressive trick?
Well, also, I don't think that they understand. It hurts.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. Like when I have to, like even when I wear like sports gear and stuff, there's some sports bras that I buy specifically because it's not as painful to wear them because it's like, okay, either my chest is getting pushed down and it's hurting my chest or it's going to be hurting my back. So it's like, which pain am I going to deal with today?
Yep.
Like which one am I mentally prepared to take this type of pain today? And so I'd prefer boob pain than back pain because whenever you wear the Razorbacks, it's like those. It's just when you put something on, it's like I have an instant headache. I put a Razorback like sports bra or even regular bra, and it's instant back pain, and it doesn't go away. It lasts on until the next day, even after I take it off, and I just hate it. But that's usually what holds them, there because it's a Razorback, and it uses the support from your spine to hold them together. And I'm like, fuck this shit. It fucking hurts. Unless you're swimming, that's different. When it's a sports bra or like one of those sports like tops.
Yeah.
Different. But like the way that this armor was, I'm like, that looks better than most of the shit that you have to work out within like in today's day and age. That looked like it was, I mean, I didn't even notice the any kind of issue. Until she said, it's like, oh, did you realize that person was breathing? And it's like, well, that's not something I typically think of because I just assume everyone's breathing. But now that you pointed out, okay, that person's chest is moving up and down because they're breathing. It's like, the Mandalorian is wearing armor. It's like, oh, well, there's boobs on it. It's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. It's on a fucking woman, of course.
Naturally. That's like literally, it's pointing it out on her armor is as inane as pointing it out anywhere else. Like, oh, look, there's a woman standing in a dress. Yeah, she's got boobs. Yeah, no fucking shit. Like, it's that, like, wow, look, her dress was made with room for her boobs. Incredible. Wow, her shirt was made with room for her boobs. Amazing. Oh my God, she's wearing a bra with shape designed for her boobs. Nuts. It's that pedestrian. It's that fucking obvious to everyone in the world except for Anita, stupid ass Sarkeesian, and her retarded followers. Anyway, John Powers says Alita growing her frontage area must have really set the SJW crowd off. No, it didn't, John Powers, because they didn't go see the movie because they already decided without even seeing it that it must be anti-SJW and anti-woke and already anti-feminist trash.
Oh no, they complained about it.
I do recall hearing complaints though about her more mature body being feminized.
But here's the thing: did you watch it?
Alita?
Mm-hmm.
In theaters. I love it. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's like, so then like it changes because that's the way that she sees herself, and they were in complete denial of that. They left that out of every single story that they wrote, and it's like anyone that watched the movie knows it's like because they try to give like the dad like, oh yeah, he did that. He gave her like bigger boobs. It's like no. He attached her to the body. The Mars body, and it adapted to the way she viewed herself in her own mind.
Yep. Exactly. It was just a skin basically that changed, that molded to her. No, that was a great movie. That I was just thinking, we have this new TV and whatnot. I'm like, oh, we should watch Alita in 4K. Speaking of TVs, though, Jeff alerted me to something. I don't know if you saw this. This is just came out today. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to debut simultaneously. Anna just died. Wonder Woman 1984 is now coming out simultaneously on HBO Max and in theaters. So that is the latest on the street. There is that they're not doubling down on the whatchamacallit, on the theatrical release anymore. They're going to do a simultaneous release to that. Okay, let's scroll down a little. We'll read these couple of super chats while we're waiting for Anna to pop back in. If anything, don't worry. Oh, there she is. Perfect.
I don't know what happened, but that was stupid.
Did you hear what I said? Wonder Woman is going to get a simultaneous HBO Max release with its theatrical release now.
Well, that's stupid.
Yep. So they gave up on releasing it in full, solely in theaters.
They're going to lose so much money.
Yeah, they really are. Raging Rhino says, "Hey, ladies, just something to help SP and Lando." Lil SP. His street name is Lil SP, by the way. So Pancake is napping right here next to me. We'll get some lunch soon after the stream. The vet warned us that he might be a little loopy and have the munchies. His words were, so basically he's going to be stoned. So he was chasing me into the bathroom all day trying to get we call him his secret treats. Because we had to put everyone had to go on a diet because Lando was stealing all the extra food and getting fat. But Pancake is the little skinny one. So we set up the secret treats program, i.e. we just keep a bag of treats in the bathroom because he likes to follow us in there anyway. So now he knows he follows us in there and we close the door. We give him treats and no one else. That way he gets those extra calories. But so thank you, Raging Rhino. Thank you for the love and support. You're always such a wonderful dude. We'll got to get you and the Aussies back on a Thirsty Thursday one of these days. That was a lot of fun. I miss watching you get too drunk to talk about anything other than Star Wars. It's a good time. Formerly Rod Line says, "I'm a man with moobs and no one designs armor for us." Man, you know what? You should start a support group, formerly Rod Line. Men with moves, armor for men with moves. Because this is a real problem. Like, instead of trying to fit more and more people into smaller and smaller boxes, we should be designing armor with more and more body types in mind. And I think men with moves is the next obvious step on that. What do you think?
I just think of Fight Club.
It's exactly what I think of. Bob has bitch tits. 100% of the time. And you don't even like that movie, and that's what you think of.
I hate that movie with a burning passion.
That movie so much. Oh my God. That movie is
incredible. If I could snap 3 movies out of existence that weren't just the Godfather trilogy.
Sorry, Godfather duology. There's only 2 of them.
Okay, Godfather duology. Basically almost every single Martin Scorsese movie to ever exist. And then I would definitely want to get rid of that one because I fucking hate that movie.
If you snapped Scorsese and Fight Club out of existence, we wouldn't be friends anymore.
It's okay. I love you, and it's not real.
As long as it's only okay because it'll never happen. But thank you. So
I
thank
can
you.
wish.
What? Yes.
I said I can wish.
A gal can dream, and I can talk about ear polyps again. These are what makes the best friendships. When you find out what makes your friends tick, like the things they hate the most, so that you always have leverage because they also know all the things you hate the most and can leverage that against you. So it's very important. It's very important to know these things so you can appropriately leverage your own sanity against theirs. Right? That's what friendship is.
100%.
Ninja Lawyer Steve says, remember, she got to go before the UN and advocate for censorship. I'd forgotten about that, Ninja Lawyer Steve, but that's right. So truly the enemy of the people. So if you think, oh, Anita Sarkeesian, she's just an irrelevant nobody, remember, she did get to do that. So those connections are real. And remember this matriarchy and this important discussion of manufactured relevance versus organic relevance. So, haha. Raging Rhino says, have you seen Harry Styles in a dress? Thoughts?
Oh my God. It's so fucking weird. Like, dude, stop. You were a teen icon. I'm not even kidding. This is the most depressing thing, Jesse. When I was in high school, that's when, fucking A, they came out with that stupid song. What is it? Oh, like something like You're Beautiful. Like, that's what makes you beautiful. And like my friend was one of those girls that was like obsessed with boy bands. And she had a Justin Bieber Barbie doll. Like, that's how bad it was. And I'm like, you know what? People put up with my crazy, so I can put up with her crazy. And so I remember she had a One Direction birthday party with like cakes that had like figures of them on it. And like every single girl my age was obsessed with them. And I'm like, dude, you literally like the main singer of that. So somebody, even Jesse, I'll show it to you one day, made an animation of One Direction with Star Wars. And it's actually pretty good. It's like the guy was like, it's a guy that made it. And he's just like, people are saying that only women are fans of One Direction. So I wrote this fan fiction and then I animated it. And like, I'm like, actually the storytelling in it, now that I think about it, this fucking little fan fiction, One Direction animated Star Wars short is better and has more thought and love behind it than all of Disney Star Wars, including Yoda. Because you can tell that this guy really cared. And the story, it's silly, but I'm thinking about this. It's like, oh my God, blast from the past. But Harry Styles was literally the one, because he's Luke Skywalker in this little short, but he's literally the one that every girl wanted because he's like the main singer. Some girls like Zayn, some girls like Liam. I personally like Lee the best because I thought he looked the most like David Bowie. But Harry Styles was like every girl my age, like, oh, Harry, oh my God, he's the best singer. And now it's like, bro, you could literally like just plow through women, any woman that you wanted, and you're now deciding to be a fucking weirdo and wearing a dress. I mean, David Bowie did that years ago. He did that for art, and it actually for art, not to virtue signal. It was part of his whole like character that he created. So all you're doing is being a bad ripoff of David Bowie and in denial that, you know, you're ripping off David Bowie.
So I'm just trying to.
I'm sorry,
I'm just trying to figure out why he's doing it. That's what I'm looking for now. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, la 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 la. Okay, yeah, I just want to know why he's wearing a fucking dress. So, because just fucking tell me. I don't care about any other fucking life. I don't give a shit who he is. I don't care.
It's the, what is it? One Direction, the Beatles, and Star Wars.
Oh my God. I've got the fucking Vogue whole interview and shit here. I'm trying to find the part where he's talking about wearing a dress. I don't know why you're doing it. I don't care.
If I find this, will you guys
watch it? What?
If I find this, will you watch it?
Yeah, of course.
You guys want to watch some One Direction fan fiction animation?
Dude, I'm all over that. I just want to know why you're wearing a fucking dress. Just tell me fucking why. I don't care. Why? 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 Mom loves to dress up. Well, hair to do it. She's a paper shower. So he liked to dress up as a kid. Whatever. And he wore tights as a kid, and it was totally crazy. And whatever. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm like, do we have some sort of history here? And yeah, this is his brother talking about him doing okay. Oh, so this is what I'm looking for. And this is before I answer your question, Raging Rhino. What are my thoughts? Because this is an interesting point and very relevant to our niche. So what was I looking for? I wanted to see in this whole stupid interview where at some point we're going to touch on your fucking dress wearing. Why? Are we going to talk about your childhood where you've always played dress up as a kid and you always like to wear dresses and now you're an adult and you can wear a dress on the cover of Vogue? Hooray, good for you. Or are we going to get some pretentious, retarded answer about, the meaning of gender roles and blah? And it's the former rather than the latter. So that changed that.
Oh, no, I think the person took it down.
Well, so given that it's the former, not the latter, that we have his brother talking about, Harry being really into playing dress up as a kid and him having this memory of wearing the tights and all this shit, I feel comfortable saying that this is not news and everyone needs to get the fuck over it and stop talking about it, right? Because here's the thing. It's a really delicate balance, and this is the problem that modern social justice has created for us, is that it creates this tightrope of, are we doing it right or are we doing it wrong? And if we're doing it right, then the correct reaction is no reaction. Because if we're doing it right, then we shouldn't need to call attention to it. To do so is just
found it. It's got 47 million views, Jesse.
Cool. May I finish my tirade first?
Yes.
I'm on a fucking roll. So here's the thing, right? So if you're on the side, if we land on the side of we're doing this right, then the way to approach it is no attention, because to give it attention is to virtue signals, to say, oh, look at us, blah, we're treating this thing like it's normal. Aren't we so special for doing it? Okay, but once you call attention to it, you're not treating it like it's normal anymore, so you're part of the problem. Cool, but now, of course, if we've gone to the wrong side and this was all virtue signaling to begin with, then it is important to call it out and call out bullshit and stupid this is. So for me, my knee-jerk actually looking at something like this, we're talking about a British musician, who was in a boy band, a pop boy band, teen idol bullshit kind of thing, where like the rate of homosexuality is probably a lot higher than it is in other professions anyway. You're talking about the arts too, where like the feminized man has been a part of the arts even outside of gay people, and actual queer culture, which has also been a part of the arts for a long time. So my knee jerk to seeing like, oh, a singer from a boy band is now wearing a dress on the cover of Vogue is we have gotten to that place as a society where he feels like he can just do this and it's fine and it's whatever. And we should be there. That's what it should be. The reaction to this should be, I don't give a shit about Harry Styles or One Direction, so I don't give a shit what he's wearing on the cover of Vogue. To make a big deal about it and to want to sit here and do this, oh, it's an assault on masculization, and listen, there's nothing in this interview or article where he's sitting here trying to say all men should wear dresses or whatever. So to try to sit here and say it's an assault on masculinity and whatnot is as retarded as when we state an opinion on our Twitters or on our videos about something in the world and people tell us we're attacking that thing. You're not attacking it. If he wants to wear a goddamn dress on the cover of Vogue, he can wear a dress on the cover of Vogue. It does not change any other.
Yeah, it's not going to make Henry Cavill wear a dress.
Exactly. It's not going to suddenly change the beauty standard, and now Henry Cavill is going to feel like he has to wear a dress too.
I highly doubt, unless he's getting paid millions and millions of fucking dollars. I don't think Henry Cavill is going to put on a dress.
Exactly. So I think this whole, like the people who reacted, I guess I saw Ben Shapiro had his hot take on it and whatnot.
Oh, is that what Ben Shapiro is saying it?
he's saying this is like an assault on masculine values and whatnot. That I think is reactionary. I think Ben Shapiro over the past like year, maybe it's just coronavirus. Everyone's kind of in this bubble. You don't get to get out and do these interviews and talk shows. And he's usually on the road a lot more. I feel like a lot of people, him included, have sort of started talking in circles and feel a little more like they're in an echo chamber than usual. Although I will say Ben Shapiro is the kind of guy that sometimes I really love his takes and like love the way he dunks on other people. Other times I really love the way other people dunk on him. For example, somebody's tweet pointed out, which I think is very apropos. Imagine hearing 5'3" Ben Shapiro lecture you on masculinity. And I can't not laugh at that because really, like, Ben Shapiro looks like a boy. It's not his fault. He has a very boyish looking face, and he's also a tiny little elf man, and he's also only ever had sex with one woman in the entire world. He's not exactly the paragon of masculinity,
Oh God.
So it is kind of funny thinking that it's hard. It is going to be really hard for me to take you seriously, buddy, talking about what like traditional masculinity is, because literally nothing about the way you look embodies traditional masculinity. So like grow a beard, wear flannel, and start carrying an axe around, I guess. Maybe cool it on the masculinity.
Have a furry chest and start cutting some wood for the fire.
Exactly. Like if you really want to go ham on this, traditional masculinity, pop out those chest hairs or something. Like,
who was I talking about this with? I was talking about someone, but it was not on air, so nobody has to worry about like going and hunting down the string. But I was talking about someone about like how like now men aren't really allowed to be masculine, and if you look at like toxic masculinity, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, everything that like these feminazis hate is like what I'm attracted to, is what I look for in a man. I look for the most masculine man out there because I'm very feminine. I like my girly stuff. Obviously I like boy stuff too, but I'm typically a pretty big girly girl. And so what I look for, and I feel like it's one of those evolutionary things where I look for what is my opposite. So of course, if I'm very girly, I want to find the most masculine man out there because I need my other half to be literally my other half to, compensate for all of the stuff that I don't have. I'm not physically strong. I'm not tall at all. So I look for the thing that, aside from like the hairiness, because I'm a fucking monkey, like I look for my exact opposite. And then I'm like, oh my God, all of these feminazis are trying to get rid of all the things I like. Fuck
right.
You.
I want to read this real quick since I know he's got to go. Macy Van Dusen says, got to go now. Night all. Have a great evening. You too, Macy. Always great to have you pop in. No, to your point, it's funny because I am attracted to all those super masculine things for like some similar but some opposite reasons, like a weird mix. Because like there are parts of me that are very feminine. There are also parts of me that are less feminine than your typical girly girl. And but I'm really attracted to men and masculine men. So part of why I've always liked a very hyper masculine aesthetic is because when I'm with a guy, I want to feel delicate and feminine. And because because like when I'm with more delicate and feminine women, usually I don't feel very delicate or feminine because I tend to be like thicker and lower voice and shorter hair and all those things, probably not wearing makeup and what have you. So it's really important to me to have somebody who's hyper masculine because it makes me feel delicate and feminine in the way I want to feel in a romantic relationship. Hence my gigantic dude. What? Jeff, Anna and I were just talking about why we like hypermasculine men, and I was saying it's really important for me because as someone who's not always seen as soft and delicate, having somebody who's always going to be further on the like masculine side of me for everything is going to make me get to feel like soft and delicate in the way.
Well, I mean, you're kind of like Xena in that way because, I mean, even in Xena, all of her love interests are like the most masculine warrior men. She doesn't go for like the freaking twinks or like the not the masculine hero type of men. That's what Gabriella goes for. Gabriella goes for that because she's intellectual, and even though the guys are still, obviously all the men in the show are still masculine, but
Actually, a great example. Sorry, I didn't realize you weren't finished.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, keep going, keep going.
No, I took that opportunity when you talked to put food in my
Oh,
mouth.
you're like, oh, great, bite. Another great example though is Katie Sackhoff's character on Battlestar Galactica. She plays Starbuck. She's a fighter. She's super. I think whatever she is. I think she's a pilot and all that. She's super tough. She's got short hair. She's very tomboyish, and she's got this like ongoing fling relationship with another one of the main characters, and they're like, it's a very antagonistic relationship. Like I remember my ex, who was super into it, like wanting to show me that he wanted to, like, he was trying to get me into it. So he was trying to show me little things like from it or about it to give me a sense of what the show, like what the tenor of the show was. So he showed me this one video that like recapped their relationship over the first 4 seasons. And one of the best parts was, Starbuck and so-and-so still like each other. So they beat each other up. And I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. That sounds like me. But like, that's normal, you know, like that's super, like the super tough woman who wants a super tough guy to balance her out, you know, like no amount of making up or reinventing this idea of gender roles is going to take away that inherent need you and I have to just want to be held sometimes, you know, to just want to be taken care
of. What happens? She wants Han Solo to hold her.
Exactly.
And that didn't make to anyone. Nobody saw that. And when Princess Leia's like, hold me to Han Solo, and he just does, nobody looked at her and goes, oh, what a weak woman.
Exactly.
All of a sudden she's not, you know, leading the freaking rebellion on Endor. No, that's not at all what happens. But, and you know what sucks is all of these feminazis, they want masculine men. They don't want a pussy. They want a fucking man. But then they're spending all day on Twitter and all day writing articles and all day on their little stupid blogs and all day working in the industry trying to destroy it to get rid of them. And it's like, but bitch, that's exactly what you fucking want. I know, because I used to live with all of these SJWs and I used to fucking work with them. And it's like, you bitch because men are too masculine. And then what do? You bitch when the guy you're dating or the guy you're talking to won't commit because he's a fucking little pussy. So don't even give me that.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. It's like a total gas. That's probably why they're so mad all the time. That's actually probably why they'll never be happy and never be satisfied, because they have scared off all of the men that they want to be with, so they have to settle with these pathetic little male feminist simps, and they hate it.
They will never be satisfied because they are in complete denial, and all they want to do is destroy the men that can satisfy them. Because I'm sorry, soy boys don't satisfy women. I used to live with an SJW. Every single guy she dated was a soy boy. What was she doing the whole time afterwards? Complaining to me. I've heard every fucking story under the sun. I've worked with these people. Soy boys cannot satisfy women. Men satisfy women, unless you're a lesbian, and that's a completely different story. It has no relevance in what I'm talking about right now. But then they just complain, and like I guarantee you, if Anita was getting laid regularly, and the dude, like, she was with a man that was like a man and satisfying her, she would not be bitching on Twitter about boob armor.
Yep.
She needs to get fucking laid, and she needs to get her Twitter taken away from her for a week.
Yeah, but goddamn, who's gonna get in bed with that?
I don't know. One of you dudes go take it for the team, please. Go take one for the team.
Risk themselves on that kind of crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Really drunk. Have her sign like an NDA that she's not gonna sue you, and just, you know, fuck her brains out for like a week and a half. And then just do us all a favor, please, and thank you.
Oh my god, right? Seriously. Okay, so Mark C, let's see what your take on this is. Mark C says, a male dressing in traditional female clothes can be seen as nothing else as taking a shot at masculinity, sort of a look at me and deal with it. Okay, well, by that same token, is me wearing, I wore guys' pants my entire childhood because I wanted to.
That's one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard. A male dressing in traditionally feminine clothes can be seen as nothing else as taking a shot at masculinity. I mean, get off your high horse on that one in the nicest way possible, Mark C, because I know that you're a really big supporter of our channel and the community. But okay, like I used my example earlier, When David Bowie was doing his thing, he created a character called Ziggy Stardust. And so when he was in those costumes, he was wearing the makeup. He was, he was playing this character that was an alien from Mars that came to Earth to share like music. He was wearing the dresses. He was wearing the makeup. They did. So by that, he's not taking a shot at masculinity. He created a character, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, go back and look at Motley Crue and the shit that they were wearing. I mean, even like Kiss, they're wearing makeup. That's not taking a shot at masculinity, because all of the men that I just named are very masculine men. It's not taking a shot at masculinity if that's what you like, because I mean, that's like saying, oh, like me wearing a suit to wedding is taking a shot at femininity. No, it's not. I was very feminine. Jesse having short hair is not a shot at femininity. That's a very ridiculous statement to make.
Exactly. There was a version, one of the like niche, punk aesthetics was that like men wearing black eyeliner, like the punk goth sort of line, weird aesthetic was like men, hyper masculine men, buff dudes wearing black eyeliner and painting their nails black and shit like that, and they were still masculine dudes doing it. It wasn't supposed to be a feminizing thing. So like by that token, by that logic, Mark C, what you're saying is if a guy just really wants to wear dresses and likes dresses and happens to feel like he is not allowed to wear dresses because it's somehow taking a shot at masculinity, that's insane. To me, it's about what you're saying about it. If you want to wear dresses and be put on the thing is, again, it's all art. It's art. Like you go back hundreds of years and men dress on the stage and women Shakespeare plays because women weren't allowed to act, and it wasn't an assault on masculinity for those guys to put on a dress. And it's no different. And a photo shoot for the cover of a magazine is no more like real life than a man wearing a dress to do a Shakespearean play. You look at the crazy things some of these women wear in these photo shoots. They're these impractical.
Look at freaking whatchamacallit. Go look at like samurai movies or like Asian movies where they're wearing the robes and it's basically just a fucking dress. It's not taking a. I think that what happens is there's some people that do it like Ezra Miller. He 100% is doing it for an agenda. He's not being artistic. He didn't create a character. He's doing it to do exactly what you're saying. Look at me and deal with it. That is Ezra Miller to a fucking T. David Bowie wasn't doing that. Other people weren't doing that. I don't think in this situation Harry Styles is necessarily doing it. Maybe his agent has an agenda and they're kind of pushing it. But at the end of the day, when like you're a little kid and like there's that one little kid that wears a costume every single day and they won't put on anything else. Like me, I wore a Cinderella dress for 2 years. I did not take that thing off. And there is an echo when I speak coming from you.
Oh, okay. I've noticed that. I've been seeing it pop up on like the sound bar move around me when you talk. So I've been trying to finagle because I think I can make it a little better just by changing the setup a little bit. So that way no one has to deal with it.
So just to bottle down my point, I think there are 100% people that do that on purpose. I don't know. Not everyone is doing that. Agreed. Or doing it with an agenda to do it on purpose. Some people, people just are going to wear what they want to wear. There's a reason why not everyone has the exact same wardrobe. You look at my wardrobe compared to Jesse's wardrobe, very, very different.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even identical twins, and you see them and you see how different their personalities are. People are going to wear what they want to wear. And there are some times that people wear things that they clearly want attention. They clearly want to be looked at. Like when you go to, I don't fucking know, the supermarket and there's a person in a fucking unicorn onesie with neon glasses that are, blinking. That person went there specifically because they wanted to be looked at. Not like the mom that is, exhausted and has her 3 kids with her and she's just in her pajamas because she does not give a fuck.
Exactly. So now, what I will say to this, to the point, is we also have another Mark C. Did send another $5 after this one, which is also an awesome one. Since we do like Mark C, we will give him his redemption on that one, as well as I'd like to point out, hearing this from someone like Mark C, who always has, all of his contributions. He's always been someone I've thought of as someone who, when I've noticed his contributions, comments, super chats, has always had very poignant takes. So it's surprising for me to see one that I so vehemently disagree with, but then it makes you think, why are we having this conversation? I saw someone else earlier, when I
have to pee. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. When I talked about Ben Shapiro, who said the same thing, about Ben Shapiro's right on this. People have been doing this in write-ups about men for years. And it brings the point, which is that while I do think it's really important that we need to continue to parse out the difference between when it's a bad or a whatever. I'll bring this up since you did follow up specifically on this point. We will go back and hit your other super chat, Mark C, and everyone else's too. But since we're specifically still discussing yours, we'll read more on this. And thank you for the super chat. I always love this. This is, by the way, something I'd like to just side note point out real quick, especially since Anna's running off for a sec. Something I love about this community and so appreciate and respect and about people like Mark C. And many others. We've had this from, I know Doc Holliday was a notable example recently too, who will be part of a discussion on the opposite side of the hosts of the show, the complete opposite side of whatever they believe, and the host, sometimes myself with one, sometimes whoever it is, may vehemently disagree with them. And the thing is, we totally have the right to. We have every right to have that disagreement. I don't think we did or said anything disrespectful to Mark C. And I'm glad that he knows and feels that and feels comfortable sending an additional super chat to continue being part of the conversation. This is what I love. This is what's important, is that we don't have our take and then Mark C feels like, oh shit, I can't be part of this conversation anymore because fuck me. He feels like, no, I still have a point to make and I'm being my point's being respected and heard. Therefore, I feel like I can still be part of this conversation. I love that about the Mindless Mob. That's you guys. About a lot of the fans in this community that I see on Anna's channel, Jeff's channel, and stuff. So I'm all for this. So I just wanted to take a second to point that out and point how much I appreciate those types of gestures, because that's what lets us know, sometimes more than anything else, that we are doing our jobs correctly, because we are able to have dissent and disagreement and still foster that and make people feel okay, that we can feel really strongly about something, but you can disagree with it and that's fine. So to that point, Mark C says, I'm not talking about performance or subgroups of men. The subject of this discussion is about the intent of this photo. The intent is to give masculinity a middle finger. So this, I feel like this has a lot of layers. And I also feel like, based on this super chat, that Anna and I are talking about it from one angle and you're talking about it from another one, where you're reading the intention of the publishers and we're reading the intention of the subject. And now that I'm actually even more glad you said the super chat, because now I'm able to flip it and see your perspective a little bit. Yeah, I think you're right and we're right. I think that Anna and I are right that Harry Styles doesn't have those intentions and just thinks it's cool that he gets to wear dresses in a picture. I think the intention of the magazine is to shove this in someone's face. Oh, look at us changing the definition of masculinity. We put a man in a dress on our cover. Look at how progressive we are. So by that token, I think that you are right and we are right. We were just arguing different points. And let me go back and catch some of these other super chats while we're waiting for Anna to rejoin us, because I know we had some other people weighing in on this discussion, as well as Mark C's other one. Says feminists don't think, which is 100% on board. I think we can all agree here. Feminists don't think far enough ahead to think about getting a man. They're too busy trying to subjugate them. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's exactly why, again, they're so fucking miserable, because there is what you're saying, what Anna was saying, what we're all saying, exactly right, where they're spending all their time trying to force men to not be men. They're not fucking thinking about what's going to happen when I suddenly want a husband or a breadwinner or the father to my children or someone I know is going to be able to take care of me. Because that's the thing. There's a basic biological need that hasn't gone away, which is that when a woman is pregnant, she is physically vulnerable. And that is the entire reason why traditionally human women have valued physical fidelity or emotional fidelity in their male partners over physical ones. Males value physical intrinsically, biologically, because it is important to them to carry on the seed. So if they know their woman is faithful physically to them, they know it is their genetics that are getting propagated. women know that they will be vulnerable when they are pregnant. Especially in the later months of pregnancy. And so they need to know they have a man who will be emotionally faithful to them and want to stay and take care of them. Doesn't matter if he goes and fucks some other woman. That's why you get things like, certain European attitudes, like the French attitude, which is exactly that. Oh, my husband can go fuck anyone he wants to, as long as he comes home back to this house. It's understood. Like, it's a very French attitude to just, it's understood that your husband's going to go cheat on you at some point, as long as she's just the mistress and he doesn't shit where he eats in that way, and you're still always the matron of the house, they're okay with that. It's that kind of shit. I'm not. I think that's bullshit. But that's where that attitude comes from. And words are so yeah. So that is an intrinsic, hardwired biological necessity, because even in today's modern society, with all the world's greatest technologies, you're still burdened. A woman in the third trimester of pregnancy is still, physically disadvantaged. Even if she can still do everything for herself and all that, she is still physically disadvantaged. And so that biological desire to have a man, words. To have a man, sorry, I was starting to read the next super chat that came in and forgot, who can be there to protect her when she is at her most vulnerable is not going to go away. So these feminazi bitches wake up one day and they go, all right, it's time to settle down. And none of the men around them will fulfill that intrinsic desire and need, because they have fucking scared away all the real men who don't want to deal with this bullshit, who don't want to be talked down to or subjugated or treated like crap or put themselves in a position where they can never feel safe or comfortable, because what if she turns around and lies that I hit her or did this or said that, and it's all this bullshit. Where are we now? Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Diego Flores says, I'm a dude, don't like to wear dresses, but feel confident enough to wear one to play with my 3-year-old cousin who wants to play Tea Party. Also, she is happy. Oh, that's really sweet.
I am back. Speaking of masculinity, I just did some Superman shit. I lit a fire, got some wood. I was like, I went pee, and then I was like, oh my God, I have to do like 10 things before I go back. And so I started noodles. I fed my cats their wet food. I lit a fire because our house, since we remodeled, it's weird since this house is like super old. There's not like an air conditioner or a heater, but so P just had to like do this whole house fan thing. So we still don't have AC, but we have fans and like this thing that basically will keep our house cool. But since the heater got disconnected, it's not even like where you have the vents that go in every room and it heats up your house. It's this thing that's in the wall and it puts out heat and it works really well, but he had to disconnect it when we took the wall out. And I
know those things are,
Yeah, so he hasn't hooked it back up yet. So we have to do, the way we heat our house is through the fire. And it gets really cold here at night. So he took Tulip out on a walk, so he's not here to light the fire. So I got to do the fire stuff. I've got to do real boy manly stuff just now. And then it has a weird smell at first, so I had to go light candles and whatnot. So Peach is going to come home, and the house is going to be lit by scented candles. So he's going to be going, what are you doing?
So what's going on? Diego, we just read the super chat from Diego Flores. Says, I'm a dude, don't like to wear dresses, but feel confident enough to wear one of play my 3-year-old cousin, which I thought was really cute and sweet. And I think stuff like that, like these are the kinds of things that are good to destigmatize, and when it comes to destigmatizing what is okay for men to do or women to do or this and that and the other, it's the whole problem we run into is just, where do you draw that line? So it's funny that, so Marxie's additional follow-up actually really brings that into focus as well. So what I was realizing from one of his follow-ups, Anna, is that part of what Marxie is talking about too, and that I think is a fair point, is that while you and I are looking at from Harry Styles' perspective and saying we don't think Harry Styles is wearing dresses to try to make some crazy statement or anything, But the other side, I do believe is true, that I believe the magazine probably is posting it, is doing this specifically to make that virtue signaling statement.
Well, that's why I specifically specified his agent or like the people.
Exactly. Now, so this is an interesting point that bears talking about. Mark C., thank you again for continuing to participate in this discussion. While you were gone, and I also took a moment to point out how, we get things like this in our community where we get a super chat, we vehemently disagree with that perspective. And instead of that person feeling like, well, fuck this and going to find a different echo chamber, that person feels comfortable enough to say, no, I can send another.
That's happened before. That does happen.
It happens all the time in this community. And so I just want to fill you in on what you missed. We were talking a little bit about that. So Mark C. says, I'm taking this from the same view of Ben Shapiro. He wasn't discussing anything but this photo. With feminist subjugation, you must understand that men are going to take a hard line against anything potentially feminine. And so here again, right, goes back to a little bit what I was saying before, and also brings in the big problem that I have with the way our culture is set up now with this us versus them. And so the thing that I was getting at a little bit before that's similar is we have to protect ourselves against taking the knee-jerk anti-stance simply because we are against what they are for. And because the opposite of what they want isn't always the right thing either. But we live in this society now that asks us to do that, that if it's not us, it's against us.
Yeah, so, if you're not with me, you're against me,
exactly. So while I don't fault anyone for taking this perspective, I ask the question, where does it end? At what point does this perspective, because we've already seen how the feminist perspective is just leading women to act like all the toxic masculinity things they say they hate about men. It's just causing women to behave in all of those terrible, shitty ways. Now, at what point, though, is taking this stance, Mark C., going to drive us back the wrong way into what was actually, quote, toxic masculinity? And I bring this up because when we move the goalposts and when we keep moving the goalposts, we forget where they were before, So Jeff and I read this really funny article, one of these fun BuzzFeed lists. We found this one writer that hit a string of good ones. If you've fallen down a BuzzFeed rabbit hole, 90% of their little lists are trash, but like 10% of them are really great. And if you get on the right train, you'll be laughing your ass off for like an hour. And so this was one of those, and it was one of these great ones written by a gay dude who was like, straight men are sharing. It was, I think, some pulled from, maybe sourced from Reddit and places like that, of posts about like straight men are sharing things that they won't admit they do or won't do because they're gay, or like the weirdest things they've been called gay for doing. Let me see if I can pull this up real fast, because it's a cook up. Also, like, funny for us, but it's also poignant at the same time.
How straight men get their eyebrows done.
Shit. Yeah, except this one,
they're always in denial about it. No, I don't get my eyebrows done. It's like, bitch, I can fucking see the line. I know what it looks like. I know what the after effects looks like after you get your eyebrows waxed. I know what you're doing. Like, you know what really pisses me off, Jesse? I don't know how much you follow the NBA. The fucking brow dude that he's known as like the brow. I fucking hate him because I'm like, you wax your eyebrows. Just wax that shit, bro. But it's like his brand is that he's got like a unibrow, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're so right. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's not gay to look not ridiculous. Like, if that means waxing your eyebrows, it means waxing your fucking eyebrows. Like, it's not.
Well, he waxes his eyebrows anyway. I'm like, just have him paint that shit down the center.
So it's stuff like this. Like, here's one of them. I don't know the exact same one. Here's one of them where, like, someone tweeted, this is a fucking woman. So women are just as much a part of this problem as the men are. This chick wrote, I don't want my man to wear glasses. I feel like that's a little gay. And someone retweeted saying, fellas, is it gay to see? Like, that shit. Someone else, fellas, is it gay to pee? You're literally holding a dick. Another one, this one blew my fucking, the one we cracked up about was someone saying, like, that's wearing someone got called gay for putting on sunscreen. Like, you think you're tougher than the sun? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're not going to win that fight. So that's what I'm talking about, is that exists. Like, that thing that we used to call toxic masculinity, to lampoon it and make jokes about it, used to exist, and it used to be shit like this. It used to be stuff like I was taking prescription strength painkillers after surgery. My friend came over to check on me. Her boyfriend thought it was gay to take painkillers and told me to be a man. Shit like that, you know? Once I complimented at work another man on his outfit, male coworkers looked at me as if I as if I had just asked for naked photos of him. Eating bananas, hot dogs, popsicles. I've seen that too. Eating sushi at a restaurant with another guy. One time a girl thought I was gay because I was attentive during sex. Carrying an umbrella. So this is the kind of shit too, like putting on sensory there. Like these are things. Knowing the names of different kinds of clothing. In one specific case I can recall, I was apparently gay for knowing what a balaclava was. So it's stupid shit like that where like that's what, when we created the term toxic masculinity, it was to make fun of people like that who were so out of touch with what like regular things were that, you know, that it was that. So, but then you get the SJWs who want to co-opt what toxic masculinity means, change that thing and whatnot. And so then at what point are we not able to fight toxic masculinity, like fight this retarded version of toxic masculinity without accidentally bringing back the real version? You know what I'm saying?
It's just one of those things where it's like we can't have nice things anymore.
Exactly. Now
because
this one
people fucking ruin it.
Exactly. Now this follow-up I can respect 1000%, where Mark C says, I don't care what any man chooses to do. That's their business. As a father, seeing society work against me as I turn a young boy into a man, I have a get your agenda off my lawn attitude.
Oh, we're with you on that 100%. That's what it's like. So I have a problem because I grew up with all like sisters. I was then like the only boy in my house was obviously my father. And so I always say all the time, if I ever have kids, I don't want to have girls. I want to have boys. And so I keep thinking about this because my nephew, obviously he's a boy, and talking to my, sister-in-law about, the shit that like he gets told in school, or how like they're teaching them this in school, and how like they're, there's not a lot of private schools where they live because it's a small, farming community, and private schools are also very expensive, but they've been talking about how they're going to, re-budget things so that way they can take their kids out of public school and put them into private school because they don't like the things that are getting pushed on him, and how, my little nephew is being taught about, and he's way too young to be learning about this stuff, but what it's like to have sympathy periods. He's not even in puberty yet. He's not even close to puberty yet. And I mean, my sister, she was absolutely livid that, a 5-year-old is being taught, first off, what periods are, being a little boy, and then being taught, oh, if you feel like you're not a boy, you feel like you're a girl, but you can't have a period because you were born a boy. This is what it means to like have sympathy periods. And she's like, my 5-year-old son should not be, he doesn't need to know what this is until much
5-year-old son shouldn't be taught what a period is yet to begin with.
He shouldn't have to be taught by that from first off a stranger.
Yeah, I wasn't taught what a period was until I was like 10.
I mean, you kind of know what it is when you're around your mom, because it's like you see that kind of stuff.
There's something going on, yeah.
But it's not something that you realize until I didn't even realize what that was until my friend started. Like when my friend got her period, that was like the first time it was like, okay, I knew this, obviously it existed, because it's like kind of like a second nature. Like, oh yeah, that person's breathing, or that person just sneezed. It's like you're aware of it, but you don't think about it. And so, I mean, I think I was at least like 11 before I really had any comprehension of that. And I mean, my parents never gave me like the birds and the bees talk. I found out about that from my friends, which is probably better. But then again, we were like, what, 8th grade? Much, much older. He's 5 years old.
They did our first one in 5th grade, but that's still, 10, 11 years old. So...
you're supposed to be learning about like the fucking pyramids, about division and stuff. Like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. watching a 5-year-old. That's kindergarten.
5-year-olds shouldn't be even learning about division. 5-year-olds are in preschool. They're not even in kindergarten yet. But it might be maybe kindergarten. Maybe kindergarten.
He was in kindergarten.
You're even expected to what? What'd you say?
He was in kindergarten. It's like you don't expect sitting your 5-year-old at kindergarten coming home going, "Mommy, I'm I guess I'm gonna have to have a sympathy period."
Kindergarten isn't even supposed to be about learning. It's supposed to be about learning how to not eat crayons and share.
ABCs.
Exactly. It's about learning how to like not sniff the toxic markers and treat them like scratch and sniffs because permanent markers.
Oh, you're not allowed to have markers at school anymore.
God damn it.
I know. I got the kids like little art kits, and they weren't allowed to use them.
Why?
Because there's markers in it.
Oh my God.
They're only allowed to have, and this is also a crazy thing. They're only allowed to have non-wax crayons. And I'm like, crayons are made from fucking wax. What are you talking about?
What is a non-wax crayon? Is it just chalk?
It's just expensive fucking crayons that they want you to buy now.
Ew. That's ridiculous.
Because apparently it's too hard for the janitors to clean. I'm like, well, that's funny because they've been doing it since crayons were fucking invented. And I'm like, I remember that was one of like the chores in class. Like you have to, you do your class project and then you clean. Yeah. So I mean, if I can do it and I'm not a professional, cleaning person, but still, it's like they weren't allowed to take markers to school. And I'm like, these are washable markers.
Ew.
Not allowed to have washable markers, not allowed to have wax crayons. And I'm like, what kind of Puritan society are we fucking living in when a kid isn't allowed to have fucking crayons or markers to draw? Why on earth is my 5-year-old nephew learning about periods? He needs to learn the ABCs first.
This is ridiculous. Dr. Coffin Nails, though, says, I wear dresses, but only while watching The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Is that weird? Asking for a friend. No, I'm pretty sure it's actually, that is the one time that it is more normal to be wearing a dress than not, is when you were watching The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So, are you familiar with that movie, Anna?
No idea.
Let me pull up a select image.
It's not porn though, is it?
No.
Oh, but I guess this is kind of a good tangent to bring over into She-Ra.
Yes, it absolutely is. So I'm going to bring up this image for you real quick, and we're going to gear up for that. Absolute. Let me see. Get a really good one going on here. Let's see if you recognize this actor. Give me 1 second here.
I love cup of noodles. They're great.
But
they're scrumptious.
They are so good. No, but that I think we can all agree, to your tangent as well, that we think we can all 100% agree that that there is definitely there's definitely an assault on masculinity in terms of what parents are expected to teach boys and how parents are expected to raise boys today, and I think that's total fucking bullshit. So I'm 100% with you on that one. But where is?
Well, I mean, I'm alarmed because I'm like, I mean, obviously, I don't get to choose. It's very random on if you have a boy or a girl. But I would prefer, ideally, to have boys. And if I have boys, like I'm a super cheapskate, so I'm like, fuck, I don't want to have to like send my kids to a private school, so that way my kids like actually learn how to write in cursive and not get taught period stuff when they're 5.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know, Jesse, they don't teach kids cursive anymore.
So, Anna, do you recognize this actor?
No.
That's Hugo Weaving.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Hugo Weaving is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Is Tim Curry in this movie too?
He is not. That I know of. I've never actually seen it myself, but I do want to at some point. I've heard about it many, many times. But yeah. So that is why it would actually be less weird for Dr. Coffin Nails to wear a dress for this than otherwise.
What exactly is this movie, and when did it come out? 1994. What?
Yep. Oh yeah, this is an old movie.
What is this about?
It's about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Is it good?
I've never seen it. It's about Hugo Weaving, who cross-dresses as this Priscilla, Queen of the Desert person. You
never.
Literally all I know about it.
Weird tangent. You never notice how like masculine a man is until they're in drag and you see them like in a dress. Because I just pulled up pictures. I'm looking at Hugo Weaving. I'm like, holy shit, Hugo Weaving is buff. I never think of like Hugo Weaving as like, well, yeah, I think of him as like, as a masculine, fantastic actor. Yeah. But I'm looking at his arms right now. I'm like, holy shit, Hugo's fucking yoked.
Oh God, Anna's new obsession.
No. But he's got shaved legs, so it's very strange.
It's very.
I'm looking at freaking Elrond, and I'm just like, what on earth am I looking at?
It's very jarring. It's very jarring. Movie Metal Rock McDonald. No, 100% toxic masculinity does exist. The people who try to tell you that you're gay for wearing sunscreen, that's toxic masculinity. The people who try to say they don't wipe their butt because it means touching near their genitals and it might mean touching a penis. Yeah, that's a real thing that happens. I have heard that from more sources than I can count.
People that wipe their ass?
Yeah, that's a thing. That is what toxic masculinity is. So yes, that is a thing. 100% a thing. So yes, there is such a thing. It's just not what the SJWs want to tell you it is. This is bullshit though. Mark C says, well, my son at age 5 used Roblox as digital Legos. We had to have a discussion about furries and child predators. They don't teach children cursive anymore, but he knows what a trans person is.
Yep. Same thing, dude.
Why do you need to know what a trans person is before you need to know what your own sexuality is? Like, until you're at a point in your life where you need to be taught what sexuality is because you're coming into it yourself, you don't need to know about anybody else's. Like, there's nothing wrong with bringing in discussions about trans people or queer people, any of that stuff, into discussions about puberty and your changing identity and your sex identity growing up. I'm okay with that, because even if you don't believe it's a choice or any of those things, or you don't agree with the lifestyle or those things, we can all agree that those types of people exist and those types of feelings exist, and that whether you like them or not, shouldn't it be better? It's always better to be educated about something than not, but that should never come into any conversation before the baseline. Hey kid, these changes are going to start happening to your body. This is what you personally about what biologically is going to happen to your body. Jesse, all that shit comes later and like deeper into puberty. Yes, Anna.
Jesse. Oh my God. Look it. Oh my God.
Oh, that's fucking adorable. I'm not going to lie.
He's got the little boy.
Oh. So J-Hando4, I'm assuming either in response to Mark C's chat or what you were last one, or what you were saying about what your nephew's learning. It really is obnoxious because it really takes so much agency away from the parents in determining how they want to raise their own children. That's a parental decision to decide what level of sex positivity you want in your household, what types of discussions you want to have, what types of philosophies or morality you want to instill in your children. That is a personal decision that society doesn't have to agree with. As long as you, the parents, aren't actually causing harm to your children, it's no one else's business how you want to raise your children, how you want to raise your family. So teachers, kindergarten teachers, forcing the kids to come home and ask these questions and forcing parents, therefore, to have discussions with their kids about fucking furries, means it takes away their ability to choose what they want their kid to, how they want to raise their kid. So we have cute baby Yoda to squee at now. And Mark sees us. Tell Jeff I'm sorry. I've almost spent enough on you to make this a date. Joke. This episode of Miles Entertainment brought to you by Mark C. Your official, unofficial sponsor of today's episode, Mark C. Thank you so much, and thank you again for being part of such a fun discussion. And Bikini 90, thank you. Much love to Anna and Jesse. Appreciated. And so we know that these people are illogical. But in case you needed more examples, Anna, you have a striking example of the illogicality of these people in your most recent Twitter adventures.
I'm freaking out. I'm sorry. I had to mute myself because I'm just like, oh my god.
He's very cute.
Okay, I'll stop for a minute. I have to put it away because I can't stop looking at it. It's so cute. Oh yeah, psychopaths. They all these strangers. I did a video on it. All of these strangers came out of nowhere because I posted a tweet that said 3 words, and apparently those 3 words, apparently that made that I'm people took this to assume I'm a racist, I'm a transphobe, I'm a fat phobe, I have a problem with diversity, I am upset because I can't jerk off to animated titties, and all of the psychos came out. And Jesse, I don't know if you know, it's still going on. It has not stopped.
Seriously?
Like, I can't even see Twitter notifications because my entire feed is just people responding to that fucking tweet still. Let me click on one of these and I'll see what it's at now. But it's just, it has not stopped. These people are absolutely in fucking sane. And oh my, yeah, but blue checkmark decided to chime in. I proved that they're being like just assholes about it, and then they're just like, oh, I'm glad that you're getting harassed, and I'm like, are you fucking insane? And then they're like, oh, she called me out, block.
What? These people are disgusting. Fucking bullies. That's all they are. They don't even want to sit around crying foul at everyone else, and all they want to do is bully you every fucking second they get.
No, I retweeted this one because it straight up said, oh, you got a or something like about, oh no, there's the N-word. Because whenever there's a ginger character, they make them black. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like literally every like ginger character that was originally a ginger in like either animated shows or comic books, they're all like, if they're gonna race swap someone, they always do it to the ginger. So everyone's like, what you like have a thing against gingers? But so one of the She-Ra characters is a ginger, and I don't even think he's black. I think he's like Indian. But everyone's like, oh, he's black. And it's like, oh, you got a problem with black people? I'm like, how? I literally did a tweet and I showed the compare and contrast, the difference between the original She-Ra designs to the new ones, and I said this is infuriating with the face palm emoji. And guess how many quote tweets there are?
How many?
4.3K quote tweets.
There we go.
I'm gonna go through.
God fucking damn.
There are some now that are nice, but so many, like, what is it? Imagine thinking the new unique artistic takes on old overly sexualized designs is a bad thing. And I'm like, they just put words in my mouth. I'm like, okay, first off, this isn't sexualized. This is idealized. If this was sexualized, like, there's nothing she doesn't even have like a cleavage line. She doesn't have giant boobs. She's got a B cup, maybe a C cup. There's nothing about this that is sexualized. If you want to go look at a sexualized cartoon, look at Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's very much a sexualized cartoon, and they want you to look at her. They want you to see her giant boobs and giant ass and tiny waist.
There's also nothing inherently less sexual about the new version, except that they put shorts under her more revealing skirt and take away her tits. Like this is not a horrifically revealing outfit. Like, and the thing is, and the whole thing is, it would be different if when they made the change, they like put her in full tights or something like that. They gave her equally short shorts. You know, there's a short skirt that you never have the chance to see under because, oh right, she's a fucking drawing, is no more or less revealing than an equally short pair of skin tight shorts.
Well, also, it's like, okay, if we're just gonna look, because I'm the reason why I did this was because I was gonna do I'm gonna do redesigns of these on my art channel, but so I was going and I was collecting all of the characters, and that's why like my thread originally was just me posting like here are all like the differences, but I'm just looking at this and I'm like, first off, if I had to choose which one I'm going into battle with, even though yeah, this has high heels, this is a skirt, I personally would wear some kind of not revealing underwear or shorts under it. But I'm like, this one already immediately has the advantage because you know why? It doesn't have these shoulder spikes that you're not going to be able to lift your arms all the way above your head. You're not going to be able to maneuver because these are going to go into your fucking face.
Absolutely.
This
Also,
is the biggest disadvantage to this costume because she doesn't have the shoulder things. She's going to be able to fight. She's going to be able to lift the sword above her head like that. Why do you think? Why do you think she's posing with the sword like this and she's not?
Because there's no logical way to draw that arm in those shoulder pads where it goes up like that. It just physically can't. Also, I'm going to go with the warrior whose muscles are not drawn as concave entities, but the one who actually has definition. And like, I get that the newer one is going for more of a like Japanese anime style over a more photorealistic drawing style. And that reflects like a shift in the animation standard. But the whole thing is like, you cannot argue that the older one is more complex, and that's not a criticism on the art of the new one and saying that it's a bad thing, but it's not like you can sit here and try to argue that like, oh well, the new art it's just as complex or it's better in its quality and it's this and it's that. Like, that's not even a thing to lean on. There's no universe in which this is inherently better than the old one unless you just like this style of animation better, you know?
Well, so this is what in my video I explained. So the animators that were doing this, they had an insane time constraint. They had an almost non-existent budget in today's standards. They didn't have Photoshop. They didn't have, Control Z, which is the undo button. They don't have 3D animated programs. They don't have Flash that this person had. So my complaint is if you have the opportunity to create something and, you can either create the most awesome thing like something that no one has ever seen before that's like the coolest thing you're ever going to see your entire life and change the world, or are you going to make something mediocre like this? If this person had the tools that this person had, this would have not been the outcome. So exactly. It absolutely infuriates me as an artist to know that this person put 10 fucking times the amount of work hours in that this person did. And this person, it's lazy. It's so lazy. And I'm like, this is what they were doing back in the 80s with a pen and a fucking piece of paper. Exactly. And this is what you come up with now? Get the fuck out of here. Excuse me.
Just speaks to everything we talk about with identity politics, where that's the problem. There's nothing wrong with diversity and representation and blah, 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 blah. But no, the art has to be about art. The story has to be about story. The medium has to be good. The product has to be good first. And when you see this, and that's why I can understand it being this infuriating, especially as an artist looking at this, is this person who puts minimal effort into creating these new versions of them gets to run around and collect all these accolades as being this brilliant, innovative artist to update, to bring all these different shapes, colors, and sizes to women, even though they didn't do jack shit. They clicked a few buttons and used a few templates. And whereas somebody, the older artist now is getting unfairly shit on for doing really good, beautiful, talentful work. And they're now getting shit on for no reason. There's nothing wrong with the old version. It just didn't have as many fat and black women in it as you wanted. Sorry, not sorry.
And there were black women in it, which is one of the things that's infuriating. But so one of the things, I don't know if you're too familiar on how animation works, but so this person, when they were doing She-Ra and He-Man, everything had to be drawn. They reused backgrounds and whatnot. But when you have something that's real, it's very easy to animate Mickey Mouse. Mm-hmm. Very, very easy because he's not a human. He does not move the way a human does. In my video, I give like kind of a longer explanation than I probably should have. But Walt Disney's goal was he wanted to make animation as realistic as possible, and he kind of set the standard, and so people saw how successful Disney was, like with the Disney princesses and stuff. And so He-Man was successful and was selling all of these toys, and then the women that were in charge of like the girl toys, they're like, okay, well, we want to backpack off of that, and so we're going to create She-Ra. So it was a collaboration between them. That's why when She-Ra is introduced, it's because she's He-Man's twin sister that they got separated at birth, and that's why she has the power as well. But she doesn't go back to Eternia with him. She's like, no, I got to stay on my planet, and I have to, help everyone that's here. I'm needed here. He-Man, you kind of are taking care of Eternia. And so that's how She-Ra was introduced. I don't think any of these people, a lot of them are like, oh, the old ones suck. I'm like, well, you've never seen them, so you don't know anything about it. But then, Jesse, one of the things that infuriates me about their whole argument is like, oh, she's over-sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
New She-Ra is all about teenagers being in sexually active relationships.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Everything is about how they feel about one another. No, it's not about, you got to fight the bad guys. But it's like, oh my God, she helped her in this battle instead of me. Why didn't you have my back? It's all about making them.
Oh my God.
So one of the things that infuriates me, so this is very realistic. This is not. This is something I didn't point out in my video. I was waiting until I did my live stream. So right off the bat, the thing that I know is that this person is lazy. And yes, it's more of an anime style, which anime, they produce. There's some animes that suck, but a majority of the anime, the reason why it has the fan base is because it's fucking awesome. The stories are incredible. They don't give two shits about SJWs. They're like, no, we're going to fucking tell this story. We don't care how far we push the limits. We're going to fucking push them. And so when they do shortcuts, I don't know if you've seen, it's like a little clip from one of the animes where a woman's standing and then she turns around and her left leg turns into her right leg.
No, that sounds weird.
Oh, it's so bizarre. I'll see if I can find it. But so anime does this kind of stuff so that way they can take shortcuts, so that way they can push the budget. They're not taking shortcuts to push the budget. They're taking shortcuts because they're lazy.
Because they're fucking lazy.
She is animated to move like a human does. She is too, but they do it in weird angles, and so they try to cut out as much as possible. Like majority of the walk cycles, it's either far away or it's cropped right here, so you don't have to see her feet, and they only have to make her.
They just
like her
show the little. Yeah,
but
it's so funny because I never knew any of that, but as soon as you said that, I can immediately picture that they always do that awkward 3/4 crop in anime and have them walk perfectly sideways, so all you have to see is just that little shift back and forth of the thighs. That's
well, and another thing is
sometimes not even that. Sometimes they crop like a higher up, so you don't see any movement below the waist.
And then they just move them and bob. So this person had to draw.
Yeah.
So what happens is there's the animator and then there's the in-betweener. So they have to draw every single frame. Yeah. So what the animator does is, let's say She-Ra's sitting down and then she's standing up. Yeah. So what an animator does is the animator draws her sitting down, they draw her at the halfway point, and then they draw her completely standing. The in-betweener has to draw everything in between what the animator did.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so
yeah.
It takes a very, very, very long time to come up with like one action. And so to do that, not just with one realistic character, but every single one.
It's incredibly time consuming. Yeah.
It is, and it's a lot of fucking work. This person, what they do now, for even if it's a 2D show, it's 3D animated. Yeah. And so if she's walking, somebody at least 5 people are drawing her walking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this person, they get a model, they set up the camera, they zoom it in, they crop it, so that way it's maybe mid-thigh. They get the rig that has both of her like thighs move, and there's probably somebody already that created a walk cycle. You just have to pick which costume and then change the lighting of it and whatnot, and adjust the characters and manually just go in layer by layer and move it, and then just set it so that way it's on. Usually they already have walk cycles in, like, for example, when I first did my 3D class, my assignment was to animate 2 characters that were, cowboys that were going to shoot one another. They're going to have a duel. And so they already had a walk cycle in. The assignment was how to get them to turn and how to fire the gun. That was my assignment, to see if I could animate it to make it as realistic as possible. It does take time, but guess what? A bunch of people got in trouble for cheating because that already exists on the internet. You can go and upload that walk cycle. So this person can go upload a walk cycle and then just adjust it to each character and, you know, how tall they are and when they need it to begin and end.
Yeah.
It would take me maybe 2 hours to animate her walking. It would take maybe a week. If it's just me, if I have all the tools and I don't have anything else to do that week, a week to animate her walking.
Jesus Christ.
2 hours versus a week. And also, this She-Ra doesn't have knees.
No, I noticed that she doesn't have any joint like texture. Like there's so little like inking to give her any texture, which like again I get as a product of this style of animation, but it's also like it does the factor is whether you chose it for style reasons or for the ease, the byproduct is it's a lot easier to do.
Well, they 100% chose it for the ease because this is what every single animation looks like. And do you remember when we were younger so there's the Rugrats, there's Ren and Stimpy, there's Rocket Power, there's the Wild Thornberries, there's Dove. Every single one of those animated shows that I just named, even Recess, Pepper Ann, every single one of those are such unique styles that if you were to just pick not a main character, just go pick a random character from the background, you and I would know instantly, that one's from Recess. That one's from Rocket Power.
Exactly.
Now everything looks the same. You know why? Because they all have animated programs that are made so this is from DreamWorks. Okay. So DreamWorks has a stockpile of things that you can take from. So you need a walk cycle. Okay. Well, we're not going to create a new animated style because guess what? We already have everything that we need to animate this show in as little time as possible. So we're all going to draw every single show, every single movie in the same style. So that way we can just go to our little stockpile and, we use this for this.
It's the same way how you remember like with iMovie or like all the little like in like the when it became a thing, like movie editing software became like free and easy to use in things like that. And so every like school project, everyone wanted to do a video and shit like that. So after a time though, there was like the same few free sounds for a long time until all those Foley libraries got updated. You still like people our age and whatnot, there's some sounds that will still make you like bring you right back to like the school project because it was the same like that one Law and Order dun-dun that was everywhere. Things like what I'm saying. So it's like that. Whereas like those free, easy to use, already extant templates that you can get and not if you don't transform them at all, after a while it becomes so stale because it becomes a mental blur of every time you've seen it before. And that's what these people do. They don't transform them. They don't make them unique. They don't change the program in any way. Like it wouldn't be that much more money or that many more steps to bring in somebody to work on the program for a new project and just tweak certain things in the code to change the texture of the arms or change the, certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like there are extra steps they can take. That don't cost them that much extra money. It's just pure laziness that leads them to do the same shit over and over without any of these modifications or variations.
There's no freedom of creativity.
Yeah.
It's so they have to play things so safely because they have stockholders and they have people that they have to answer to. So the people in charge know if they make something that flops, they're losing their job. So then they play it by the book and they have to stay as safe as possible. There's no risk taking. It was a huge risk. When they first pitched He-Man, the best documentary I've ever seen on it, on how He-Man came to be, and there's a terrible echo right now, is if you guys go watch on, I know people are like anti-Netflix, but I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or on the Magical Bay of Pirates. But the Toys That Made Us, if you watch the He-Man episode, just how He-Man came to be and how it was like this dude was just literally like, yeah, we're gonna make that, and they're like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, and they're like, oh yeah, there's also gonna be a show, and they're like, oh really, that's awesome, and he's just like pulling things out of his ass. Yeah, there's gonna be a comic, there's gonna be an animated show, there's gonna be a toy line, and they're just like, oh yeah, cool, okay, awesome, go do it. And then it's like, you go in and it's like, fuck, okay, I guess I gotta go do this now.
Yeah.
And so it was just the best happy accident. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I was going to read some of the super chats because we had a bunch coming in about all the stuff we're talking about with the She-Ra stuff. So we had a couple from before. I was going to catch up and read a few of these because we got some people wanting to weigh in on the discussion. Saying a lot of this, it's funny because they had put in here a lot of the points that you hit on when you were talking about it too. Ninja Lawyer Steve though says that Baby Yoda has nothing on my dog. Real dogs, they do have fake alien children beat. Jeff the Iron Wolf says my son Ethan will be homeschooled. Can't fault you for that in this day and age. I know I've heard that from a lot of different parents that have a lot of concerns about sending their kids to schools and you know what goes that indoctrination of the education system as it were. Caesar Jorpins, thank you for the 0 cents. Point out on Midnight Edge's toxic femininity stream. Why does new She-Ra in her battle outfit look like a young boy, e.g. Ben 10 in girly clothing? Which is too funny because Mark C then said right after that, if you put the new She-Ra head against that of Ben 10, it's the same design. So, which all just then goes back to exactly what Anna you're saying about that they're just using the same stock thing. So it literally is the same design, and they're just not even changing it to disguise it.
Yeah, not to dox my past history, work history, but I know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what they're using, what programs they're using, and how they're making this show.
Yep.
That's why I know exactly to a fucking T. It would take me 2 hours to animate a walk cycle between She-Ra and however many other characters. 2 hours is like giving me also time to like do it slowly, like just to chill and do it. Yeah. It would take me a week to animate just She-Ra walking.
So isn't that interesting though, that like that, to see that like this stuff because you just know it, because you literally just have that information that the public isn't privy to, not having worked in that sphere. But how just the people watching, the fans and stuff, still can see that like that 1-to-1. Oh, this is literally just the same template for Ben 10. Like they don't have to know anymore. They don't have to have the background you do of knowing how they do the templates and stuff to see that laziness, to see the result, which is that, it's literally just the same thing over again. Like because that's the whole thing is that like and I know a lot of our viewers are a little more observant than the casual moviegoer and whatnot. But it really says something when you don't have to be an expert to see through the shortcuts they're taking, No,
I mean, once I started talking and you immediately noticed that she doesn't have knees. They did that on purpose. So that way they can turn her leg and not have to show the way an actual leg would turn. They literally just turn it like you're turning a sphere.
Like a cylinder,
you don't even have to watch the show with like the volume on. If you just go mute it and then have the show on, you will see how bad the animation is.
I'm kind of curious to take a look at a couple scenes now just to see what you're talking about,
Oh, Jesse, it's terrible.
I believe you.
It's so bad. That's why I said, I'm like, this is infuriating because I know how much work goes into both of these and how fucking lazy this is. Yeah. It's not just the design. Because, I mean, you can get away with, like, make She-Ra younger. I have no problem with that. Make her a lesbian. I don't have a problem with that, even though it's not correct or it's not accurate to the character. See, and that's a problem that I have. It's like, okay, if you want to have a character go from from straight to gay, if you say anything about that, you're a homophobe. But when they take a gay character and make them straight, it's like, oh my God, World War III, we must burn down the freaking government and the cities and everything because you're destroying people that are gay. It's like, well, you're trying to get rid of straight people. So She-Ra is straight. It's canon in there that she's straight. So they make her lesbian and then they make her love interest, they make him gay.
What?
Yeah, here, I'll show you because these people are losing, they lost their minds in this thread because I show it.
Mark C has a comeback option for you. Apparently, he's also buying me dessert tonight. So he says, I like telling the new He-Ra fans, well, I never thought about it before, but 80s Glimmer is making me a little turgid. That shuts them up. Sometimes toxic masculinity has its use. That's the whole thing. That's why I say that there is such a thing as toxic masculinity, that thing we used to lampoon that was actually terrible. Because I love to hilariously embody that version of toxic masculinity all of the time, especially because it upsets people like that. So, Mark C, I'm glad to see we are fully back on the same page in every facet now. And finally, not finally, multiple more. I guess
just look at this, Jesse.
The horse is adorable.
The horse is adorable, but it's like adorable. She's very obviously a straight woman, and he's obviously a straight man. Well, I haven't even looked at these. How much you want to think? Oh yeah, see, and their whole thing is like, oh, they're about kids. That's why the show's not sexualized. But then they're like,
ew.
Let's show children in sexually.
What's more sexualized? Adults wearing certain outfits kissing men, or children wearing equally scantily clad outfits also kissing men?
No, look, they're calling me a homophobe because I'm pointing out that they switched the sexualities of the character.
That's not homophobic. It's a fact.
I know.
It's just a fact. Like, this character was canonically straight and now they're gay. Why? Like, and the whole thing is the argument, well, we need more gay representation in media. Great. Write new shows with gay characters. There is not a quota on the number of new shows that can be written. It's not like, yeah, I get it that we're Hollywood's out of new ideas and no one wants to actually do the burden of creating something new anymore. And you think that instead of actually trying to create new things, you can just get away with changing other people's shit. But fucking no, there is no, if you go through Joseph Campbell, five distinct storylines, and it's just been reinvented over thousands and thousands of years every time we retell these same basic stories over and over again. But guess what? Every day, people are retelling them in new ways. There is not a limit on the new stories that can be told. There is not a limit on the new plot lines or characters that can be created or worlds that can be explored. There are no limits on these things. This is not a zero-sum thing. This is not like, there is a finite amount of children's TV shows in the world ever. We have to go back and make sure that there are enough gay people in all of them. No, just fucking write new ones. Because guess what? There's an indeterminate number of years of our future that you can populate by writing shows that have only gay characters. And I don't even give a fuck. That's the thing, is like, I wouldn't give a flying fuck if every new children's show that was written from here to the end of eternity only had gay characters in it. Because I don't care about representation. So I'm not going to look at it and go, oh, straight children need representation too. Because I don't give a fuck about that kind of stuff. You want to create all that? Great. Those straight children, if they really want that representation, they can go back and watch Rugrats and Doug and all these wonderful things. I have a problem when you want to do this lazy bullshit and go, I don't need to burden myself with creating because that's the whole thing. The rest of us still fucking are. The rest of us are still sitting here, busting our asses, trying to figure out how to retell those stories in new, innovative, and creative ways that tickle your imagination, that make our audiences want to consume it because it makes them feel good, because it's of quality. We're still here fucking doing that. So it makes me mad when I see somebody else think that they're doing something virtuous and great, because they're too stupid or untalented to create something for themselves, but they think somehow what they're doing is so much more impressive and amazing than anyone else who's actually drawing shit for themselves, who's actually writing stories for themselves, because they're correcting history. They're correcting perfectly good works that require no correction. When if they just put some fucking effort into it, nobody would have a fucking problem, because they can create what they want to create. They can leave alone things other people have created, and everybody wins. But it's not about winning. That's the thing. It's not about winning to these people. It's about making sure everyone else loses.
Yep. And I mean, I was scrolling through. You guys could see every single comment was like, "You're a homophobe. You're a homophobe. You're a homophobe." And I'm like, "How am I a homophobe? You guys are." Literally none of these people had seen She-Ra. None of them, because they didn't know that picture existed. They didn't know that She-Ra, or I mean, maybe they did because they Googled it, but a lot of people that commented on the video that I did explaining this whole situation, like there was a few people that commented that say, "Hey, I'm gay and I'm a fan of the new She-Ra because of the representation. I don't agree with what happened to you at all, and the backlash. People are insane." And stuff, but they specifically said the reason why I like it was because I found out about this. So they are trying to get that audience, but at the same time, it's like you're creating this these psychos, and you're just validating them. And then they were completely in love with like Noelle, the chick that made the show, but then all of a sudden she like said something on a live stream and they started sending her death threats. They were putting needles in her food. It was like, oh my god.
See, because that's the whole thing, right? You can make this new version with your gay She-Ra and all that stuff, and you can have people like those people commenting saying, you know, I wasn't a fan of the old one, but I'm into this new one because I like the representation. I like having a gay, you know, cartoon character. And there's nothing wrong with that. Good for those people. But at the same time, it is equally fine to say, I'm a fan of the old show, and I don't like that I liked the relationship between She-Ra and this other character, and I don't like that they changed that. There is nothing wrong or homophobic about either perspective. That's the whole thing. But the whole point is that, like, we can't accept that anymore. We can't accept that there are opinions. We can't accept that two people can feel completely different ways and both be equally right. That it is totally right and valid to like a show because it reflects something about your own life. And it is totally valid to not like a show because it changed something about the old version that you did like. And both of those things are fine. And neither one of those makes you some sort of evil Nazi socialist or some evil alt-right monster. So I just like... Ebony and Ivory, you know, this is what we need. We need this again. We need that. That's the movement we need right now. We honestly, I'm getting to a point really where like, we don't need more of us fighting the counterculture, you know, and digging our heels in and saying, you know, fuck you guys, fuck your progressive nonsense. I almost think we need more people just clamping our hands down over on the mouths of both the people shouting and screaming the outrage and the bullshit and being like, kumbaya bitches, like talk out your differences or else. You know, like, get over it or there's not going to be an it anymore. You know, I'm just so over the bullshit and the entitlement. Like, it's this addiction to outrage and this feeling of entitlement to do anything with it. That, like, get over it. We're all human beings. Unless you're literally Hitler. And I mean literally, like, I mean, unless you're actively committing genocide, you know, every human being deserves an equally fair shake. And that includes if they're an evil white man or if they're a blue hair wearing, nose pierce, you know, SJW. As long as they are decent, every person deserves to be treated with equal decency until they themselves do something to demonstrate that they no longer are worthy of that. And I don't mean something like they said something you disagree with. I mean, like, they violate the Geneva Convention. Yes, Greg Kirby, even Democrats. And that's why I'm going to harp on this, you know, for just a second, because that is even making jokes. I'm over even the jokes. I'm over even the, oh yeah, you mean even Trump supporters? Oh yeah, you mean people who voted for Biden? Like, no, fuck, I don't care. Yes, even everyone, even literally everyone, unless they fucking subscribed to the KKK or say shit like throwing bricks through windows is okay because reparations, right? Like, I mean this. I mean everyone. I mean even the people who you vehemently disagree with, so long as they are not anyone at this point. I'm like, I don't even give a shit. Invite the SJWs in as long as they're open to discussion, which is an oxymoron because part of the definition of an SJW is that they're not. But like, I don't care if you're a super liberal or a super conservative. If you're willing to be part of the discussion and you're willing to talk and you're willing to listen, I'm willing to listen back because I'm so over the fucking, no, shut up, you're wrong. No, shut up, you're wrong. No, shut up, you're wrong. I've been told that ever since I got on YouTube. All I've done is heard that either by people who used to agree with me, who never agreed with me, you know, whatever it is. But I've seen it, you know, even in fact affect our own community too, where the second you make a video that, you know, your supposed loyal followers and fans disagree with, they want to tell you, listen, little girl, this is why you're a dumb bitch. Shut up, you're wrong. You know, and I'm so fucking over it. It's not about being right. It really isn't. I don't give a shit if I'm wrong about everything in the world or if you are. If you're willing to be fucking decent to me, I am willing to be fucking decent to you. That's all.
Well, I mean, that's why it goes back to be like, treat people the way that you want to be treated. And exactly. I mean, if you're nice to me, I don't have any reason to, you know, not be nice to you unless you've done something to me. If you've done something to my friend, if you've done something to my family. And I'm one of those people. My best friend loves it because she's just like, I'm over it, but Anna's going to hate you forever. And that, like, this, I get more angry about things when it affects my friends than when it affects me. Like, for example, in this specific situation, like my friend, she found out that her boyfriend that she was with like forever, that they were living together, that he was basically cheating on her, and then like they're gonna break up and move out, and then he got engaged to the chick he was cheating on her with. So it's like, okay, you were just looking for a replacement, so you're a jackass. And so I have absolutely no reason to be nice to him, because I'm like, you're a shitty person. I saw how much you hurt my friend and exactly what you did. I have no reason to be nice to you. You have done, I mean, yeah, you haven't done anything to me personally, but you hurt my friend. So if I have to interact with you, I'm either going to treat you like you're dead to me and not acknowledge your existence, or I'm going to point out every time you're being a hypocritical asshole, which is exactly what I do when people hurt my friends. And so like stuff like that, like didn't do anything to me personally, but you hurt my friend. You're a shitty person. You've already shown your true colors. You mean nothing to me. Like it hurts me in no way to treat you like a piece of shit, because you are a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. But if like, there's somebody that I don't know, maybe I adamantly disagree with them. Like, okay, I'm trying to think of give me a person that I don't like, or that I disagree with.
Like someone that you know personally?
Somebody that everyone knows. Like if it was like
Brie Larson.
Oh, there we go. Exactly, Brie Larson. I wouldn't go up to her and say anything to her. First off, I wouldn't bother her, because if she's just going about her day and we happen to be in the same place at the same time, I have no reason to talk to her. I have nothing pleasant to say to her. Mm-hmm. So why would I do that? That's not an adult thing. It's like, okay, so if I ran into her at a con and I was like, oh my God, it's Brie Larson, I would just back up or get out of the situation and walk away. Exactly. Why am I going to go up to her and bother her at a convention? Or if I ran into her in real life, I wouldn't say anything to her. And if for whatever reason she started talking to me first, I wouldn't be an asshole. I would just say, for example, if we're at the grocery store and she asked me a question about something, and I would never go out of my way to be rude to her. If she did, for whatever reason in this scenario, if she asked me my opinion on things, I'm going to be honest with her. But I'm not going to be an asshole about it.
I've even said, in a world where she ever did come on one of our channels, I would even encourage the chat to be like, look, I really want you guys to call me respectful. Because it's a huge gesture to do something like that. I wouldn't not ask her tough questions, and I wouldn't, dance around tough subjects, but like,
well, I would ask her first if she was okay with me.
Oh, of course. I would clear, I would say that kind of stuff, too. But like, even if I was hosting her on my channel expressly with the intent of, and like, full well ahead of time, look, we are asking you the tough questions. I'm not going to be a dick about it. I'm not going to, like, even the people I vehemently hate. Like, there are a few people in this world, and they're typically people I know personally and, have done something to me personally, where if I see them face to face, I literally have nothing nice to say to them. But those are very few examples with these people, we joke about what we would say to Kathleen Kennedy or Ryan Johns if we ever saw them on the street. But at the end of the day is they made a movie I didn't like. They do things in Hollywood I don't like. They didn't personally assault me, hurt me, attack me, anything like that. So if I'm the one who goes up to them on the street and I'm like, hey, you're a fucking bitch, I am now more wrong. I firmly believe, that's why I talk about all the time, that like this morality isn't a justification to be a shitty person, because I don't care how crappy of a movie they made or how much it pissed me off. They didn't personally attack me in any way. And so me doing that to them, me personally going out of my way to attack them, is me escalating the issue and me being more wrong. I lose my moral high ground, and all of my talking points that I want to say about this crappy garbage movie they want, if I want to act like an asshole. Same way when we want to talk about, like, yeah, people have every right to pitch about the prequels. When you became one of the people who wanted to harass Ahmed Best or Jake Lloyd, you no longer have a ground to have leg to stand on, because you're just an asshole. But there are people who legitimately didn't like those movies and never did that, So, yeah, it's all about how you act. It's all about being decent and understanding, like, the relativity, and that the internet isn't the real world. Movies aren't the real world, and the things you say in private and public, just basic common sense about, like, yeah, it's the same way if you want to vent about a friend that's been pissing you off, you do it behind their back. You don't do it to their face. When you see the friend, you're going to talk it out, work it out with them differently than you are going to vent about it behind their back. It's no different with random strangers that we don't like for other reasons.
I think the biggest thing, like, because when I vent about something, I think when I'm venting, my tone of voice is different. Because I'll say the exact same thing that I've said. It's just I feel like I'm more rational about it, and I explain things like, "Hey, I was really fucking pissed about this, and I let everything out. This is exactly what I said, and this is why I felt the way that I did. And now it's better having this conversation because I'm not emotional about it anymore." So venting does help, but I mean,
sorry. Go.
There are 2 streams that I've done which have perfect examples of this. Neither of them have been on my channel, but if you want to see it when I come face to face with someone that's hurt me personally and has gone out of their way to hurt me personally, you can see both reactions. And I don't think I was out of or I was wrong in any way in the way I reacted to either of them. If anything, I think I was toned down and I was a lot nicer than I should have been. And I was in a screaming match in one of those. So just to take in mind how upset I was. So those are out there. They exist. You can see the way I handle myself when I'm faced with somebody that has gone out of their way to hurt me personally. And you also can see as the person lies to my face in both instances. But so those are out there. They exist. If you want to see the way I handle myself in that situation, so you can just get a better grasp on that. But they're out there. I don't think I've ever seen you come up face to face with somebody that's.
You have not. You have never seen me go toe to toe with somebody that I am out to destroy. And
because I mean, you've had my back plenty of times. Like when that one chick was doing all that shit. When like the day I was like going to get my like sister cremated and all that stuff, and like that guy was just blowing up my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then like admitting like, oh yeah, I know she's dealing with a family crisis today, but I'm still going to go out of my way to be an asshole.
What a piece of shit. I'll tell you how I handle my enemies after we catch up on a few of these super chats. Because it can look different depending on the situation. Mr. Another, thank you for the super chats. I may troll a lot, ladies, but I enjoy and learn a lot from posts and streams. You both make a lot of great points. Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Another. You always keep it fun. We love the trolling super chats too, because they always give us a giggle. Mr. Another, to follow that up, said body shaming Shira knees. What she lacks in these, she makes up with diversity. Jake, that's right. She doesn't have knees, but she's gay, so it's fine. And actually, not having knees theoretically, I guess, makes her, differently able to. So there you go. So Anna, we were actually being bigoted by commenting on her lack of knees.
Oh.
Mark C says, better than the toys that made us. Check out The Power of Grayskull. Also on Netflix.
I actually didn't like that documentary. I absolutely love watching documentaries. And I would say the way that one was organized and set up could have been done so much better. And it doesn't okay, I'll watch things, right? Peaches is a normie. His daughter is a child. When we watched The Toys That Made Us, they were like glued to the screen. I turned that one on. It was like everyone's on their phones. Nobody's paying attention. So when you can get something that somebody's not interested in to like be glued to the screen, that I think is a success. That one for me, I was sitting there and I'm like, first off, I already know like 95% of the information that was in there, but I don't think it was done as well. And so there's like the best documentary I've ever seen on an artist is the one about Drew Struzan. And then they have another documentary about H.R. Giger. He did all of the art for Alien. And yeah, it's in German because he's from Switzerland, but it's not a well laid out documentary. Yeah, you get to see stuff. Yeah, you get to learn stuff. Even the new documentary everyone was raving about that was for Todd McFarlane. I watched it and I'm just like, it's like, you spent like 20 fucking minutes of an hour interview, or not hour of interview, hour documentary or 45-minute documentary on this one thing, and then all of the other stuff you just glazed over. It's not a good documentary, I don't think at all. Unless you were trying to focus on that one thing that you spent 20 minutes focusing on, which I think they didn't utilize their time very well. But the one about the Grayskull one, it was not done very well.
I haven't seen either, so I can't really comment. But I would be curious to check them out. I did actually ask you a little about Vera. So I did see a really interesting one about an artist.
I'm surprised you haven't watched the Toys That Made Us one. You live with Jeff.
Yeah, we've talked about watching all those videos too, but it's just like we have so many things to do and watch. I don't know if he's caught of any of them on his own. The Toys That Made Us videos.
Yeah, I watch that show.
Okay, so did you see the one? Because they were talking. There was Mark C recommended a Castle Grayskull was called something.
The Power of Grayskull.
The Power of Grayskull.
I saw that one too.
And Anna was talking about the Toys That Made Us one. Which one did you like better?
Okay, I'm gonna answer this and then add a thing too. So I'm gonna go with the Toys That Made Us because I don't really like He-Man that much. But there's another Star Wars toy documentary called Plastic Galaxy. Toys That Made Us does it better there too.
Okay.
You know, the Plastic Galaxy one's more like nerd related, and they go to the fans. It's a bunch of dudes with plastic toys talking. The Toys That Made Us, no matter how you feel about Netflix, they go to the people that made them.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the guy, they fucking did one on Ninja Turtles, and Eastman and Laird reunited, and people cried over that shit. So whatever documentaries out there can be good, but that one's like next level good. Like
it is. It's real. So the Toys That Made Us and the Power of Grayskull have the same information in it, and the Toys That Made Us do it like 10 times better. And the way that they present information, and then the way that they do it chronologically as well. So like this is what happened first, and that's what like we know what the outcome is. At the end of the day, they're like, and they have like all the toys around them, and they're explaining how the show that's how they branch off, and they explain how She-Ra came. They explain He-Man first, and then they start talking about She-Ra. And it's not as much about like the show and the movie. And actually, if you go and watch the documentary I was talking about Drew Sturzan, he did the poster for Masters of the Universe, and they talk about, you know, the movie and how they're like, people saw the poster and then they saw the movie like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like if someone made like the artwork that Drew Sturzan did for it, and it's like you look at this and it's like amazing, and then you watch the movie, it's like that was the movie that poster was made of never really got made, because that movie is not what that poster is, you know? But so the Toys That Made Us, I think, is the best documentary on, and it's funny because it's about toys, but it's not just about the toys. It's about He-Man, and the toys go alongside it, because the reason why like characters look a certain way they are in the show, like the reason why he rides, fucking what's his face, Battle Cat, is because it's like they had the toy of the tiger that was big, and they just said, okay, let's just make him orange and green. And let's do this because we already have this toy. So let's just take the same model and then make it into something else. So the reason why the characters look the way they do, the reason why things are the way they are is, you know, coincides with the toys. And so watching the Toys That Made Us documentary is the best one I have ever seen on He-Man, and the way that they present the information and it just everything in it, it paints a beautiful picture of exactly what was going on. And I mean, I've met and know some of the people that are in that documentary, and it's like as if you're talking to them and they're explaining it to you. It's so cohesive, and if you really want a good idea of what happened and where He-Man came from, watch the Toys That Made Us. The Power of Grayskull, it's a good documentary, but it has the same exact information that's in the Toys That Made Us one. And sorry, I know it's a very long tangent.
Oh, good. Just gonna power on with a few more of these super deaths. We did a couple more coming through, and then Ninja Lawyer Steve had to double down. Since he did send me the picture of his dog that he said is cuter than Baby Yoda. So Ninja Lawyer Steve, can I share one of those pictures with the group, and then we can take a vote? Because I vote dog, so you'll have to.
What kind of dog is it?
I'm not sure if he looks like like a mix of some kind. I think he's really cute, and he's definitely a ham. But Shadow Warchild says, indoctrinated minds will not bend to reason, Jesse. Then they will fall to the sword, Shadow Warchild. Then they will fall to the sword. So Ninja Lawyer Steve also said, going back to Boob Arbor, be sure to check out Shadowversity's video. He tears it apart. I'm not surprised. I would assume he would do that. I think I do need to weigh in because no one, of course, is talking about the fencing take in the world except for me. And I would like to express how, yeah, you actually have more prominent boob armor and fencing that goes underneath the jacket that you don't even see because the design is for function, not fashion. The design is to accommodate a woman's body, not to shove your tits in anyone's face. So I do tend to I do tend to think Shadiversity. I've disagreed with him on things before. However, I do, because he always looks at things through a lens of medieval stuff. So like he has a different take on what the most realistic lightsaber fights are than I do, because I look at a lightsaber and go, this is a light weapon that can be held one-handed. It's going to have a certain fighting style. The fighting style they're using for it in some of these movies isn't right. But anyway, aside from that, I love his takes because he's gonna just, he's one of those people who has that knowledge base that when somebody wants to try to pull that, oh, well, this isn't historically accurate bullshit, he's the guy who can be like, yes, it is, or no, it's not, definitively, and here's 8,000 reasons why, and he's usually pretty funny about it too. So Shadowverse, if you guys aren't familiar with his stuff, he's definitely a nerd, so he uses
he's been on EFAP a ton.
Okay, so I assume all of our community probably knows him by this point. I didn't realize he was on EFAP.
Oh yeah, he's been on EFAP a ton.
That makes sense.
Have you not seen his Christmas rant? I feel like they animated it.
I don't think I have. But wait, hold on.
Somebody, if you're in,
maybe I did. Hold on. Was that the one? Was that the Lord of the Rings one?
No. It was on EFAP. Hey, if anyone is an EFAP fan and you know the clip that somebody made of Shad going on the rant about Christmas, can you tag me in that on Twitter, please?
Because the only animation I remember seeing with that was just something with Lord of the Rings with like your faces on it from something from EFAP. But
no. So on EFAP they had this debate, which is better, Halloween or Christmas? And when they finally asked him, he is like screaming about Christmas.
Is he anti-Christmas?
No. He is like, he's just basically saying if Christmas isn't your favorite, or like there's no way near, like you can't pick Christmas over Halloween over Christmas.
Brilliant. That's hilarious. I did not know that he was an EFAPper guy. I don't listen to a lot
He's
of that.
been on there a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, I don't listen to a lot of EFAP. Not for any dislike. I actually really like those guys and I really like their show. It's just I don't listen to a lot of live streams ever at all, and gigantic gajillion hour ones are very daunting and scary. So if I rarely listen to live streams, period, I'm definitely way too afraid to jump into something like that. Although I have seen a lot of highlights and clips and stuff from that's why that's what's nice for me. That's why I love the whole like, yeah, streaming, but then also like clipping highlights has become a thing, because then I can get what I want from, like, I get to like hear the banter and hear their takes on stuff without committing to like being there for the whole stream.
Let me try to see if I can.
But that's cool. I didn't know they're connected. But yeah, so for those who aren't familiar, aren't watching the creators from that side of the pond as much, he's brilliant. Definitely digging Shadowversity. Okay, so where are we here? We're gonna catch up and then share. Greg Kirby says, "Hi Jesse and Anna for pancake and food?" ? Food is good. Food is necessary. Very important. And Diego Flores says, "I love when he yells, Macalacious." Nice.
All right. Here, read your super chats, and then I got this queued up.
Tight. And then, no, where did it go? Ninja Steve says, "Yes, you can share dog pics. She's border collie / Australian Kelpie." All right, so we will pull what Anna's sharing, then I'll share that one. We'll do a little poll here. And Lord Jeremy's Waffles says, Shad's Xmas rant is EFAP 100 part 1 at the start. Nice. Good to know. Thank you, Lord Jeremy's Waffles. And how are Lord Jeremy's Waffles today? Maddie Hammond says, "Jesse, make a best of Matriarchy highlight video." That would be tight. And or if anyone else has a lot of free time and wants to clip them together, we will endorse this. So thank you everyone for those. And so here we go.
Good stuff.
We gotta ask the question, Rex.
Oh, sorry. I thought that this is like a wrap.
This yet? The Christmas versus Halloween.
Nice segue.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, what question?
I don't think this is it though.
It just came to me.
What question is this?
Which is better, Christmas or Halloween? I already know what your answer is going to be.
Well, I mean, that question is rather odd because
See, I don't want to play it because it's a rap. I'm trying to find this exact clip, but he basically just screams about how much better Christmas is than Halloween. So let me find it. Somebody said EFAP 101?
EFAP 100 part 1 at the start.
Okay, here we go. There's usually somebody that has oh, here we go. Shadowversary arrives intro. Fucking A. Is there no like thing that says where it is?
Well,
it's gonna take me a minute to find it, so
no worries. Well, let me
you
share.
Want to read more super chats while I find it?
That we are caught up on super chats, but I was going to share while you're looking for it. I'm just going to share this, and we can take a vote. Where did I put this? Oh, here, let me get it up correctly. Okay, so one. So we're gonna do 1 for the dog, 2 for the child. All right, and
okay, I'm gonna listen to this and try to find it.
Andrew Matthews says, "Sorry, Anna. I don't. Why is he sorry? Did Andrew Matthews do something wrong to you? Did he wrong you in some way? Oh, and Greg Kirby also says, Anna, the science officer or medical? ? I don't know what that question is about. Do you?
Sorry, I have myself muted so I can hear this. What?
Anna, the science officer or medical?
Science.
And Andrew Matthews says, sorry, Anna. I don't know why he's sorry, but he is.
I have no idea.
So, but thank you guys. And okay, so we're
so if Jim is wondering why a lot of guys don't find Abby attractive,
so I can't really go back to it. So I play Battlefield 1 now because this is the one that does that.
Sorry, I muted myself. I didn't realize. I'm trying to find this spot.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Sorry.
So here is the dog, and y'all know what the child looks like. So 1 for the dog, 2 for the child. I think this dog just looks like he wants a hug and some love. And oh wait, I didn't pull up the one. I saw it, but I missed. Where did it go? I missed the one where you told us what the dog was, I think, or did I not? I don't remember if I read that one or not. Maybe that was further down. Hold on. Where did I miss it? I thought it was here. Oh yes, Nigeler Steve says yes. You can share dog pic. She's border collie / Australian Kelpie. Okay, that's what it was that I wasn't quite sure. Was the Kelpie. Okay, now I see. I'm like, I know that's like style of dog. Like there's different like basic shapes of dogs. Doggo's taking the early lead, so I'm with dog. Broken says doggo wins every time. Dog for me. The child's cute. No detraction from that. In his little Mandalorian helmet. Oh man, that tugs on the heartstrings for sure. But this, come on, look at that little grin. Look at that little face. That's a face that says, I've never done anything bad in my entire life. Never, ever once.
Fucking found it. Oh my God.
All right, so I got to say, I don't know if you're hearing, outside of sketch therapy, because he's allergic, we've got a tag treads of votes for the dog over the child.
Oh, I might kill this person's heart. I'm sorry. I like dogs with pushed in faces, so I'm going to go with Baby Yoda.
Well, that's all right because everyone else
This
agrees.
is a very cute dog. Absolutely cute. But Baby Yoda kind of looks like my dog. So my dog is a little Pekingese princess. And I hate the cash grab. Oh, he's talking about Baby Yoda.
For Baby Yoda, yeah.
I love Baby Yoda because, I mean, you can't really compare a dog to an alien. But, I mean, when I see, like, because, I mean, I see dogs all the time, but I lose my shit when I see Baby Yoda because he's so cute, you know?
Someone suggested look up Shadowverse. It just destroys Halloween with peace and goodwill. Oh, I'm excited. All right, we found it, right?
Let's look this up. I did.
That's
here. I think this is it. Let's see. When I am not muted, can you hear an echo?
No, not right now.
Because it's plain to see beyond any doubt that Halloween is the
Okay,
retarded.
you gotta unmute the. You gotta share the audio though, because the audio is not shared on my end from the thing, so I'm only hearing it through your speakers.
Okay.
There you go.
It's gonna be.
Well, I mean, that question is rather odd, because it's plain to see beyond any doubt that Halloween is the retarded inbred cousin, simping beta cuck to the alpha chad that is Christmas.
Wow.
Halloween is the festering pussy boil on the otherwise pristine shining ass of Christmas. Halloween is shepherd's pie made with crap, where Christmas is the glorious spaghetti bolognese. Halloween is Captain Marvel, where Christmas is the Don. I would rather be tied to a pole and have a horde of rats eat off my balls while having Cardi B's music injected into my ears, interspersed with Brie Larson giving me a lecture on my toxic masculinity, with Movie Bob doing a striptease in front of me, than only get Halloween in lieu of Christmas. Words cannot express the exalted, wondrous glory that is the greatest holiday of all time, space, and existence, which is Christmas. Peace on earth and goodwill to men, bitches.
I like Halloween.
So
I mean, I don't know how Mueller can ever justifiably title one of his videos "An Unbridled Rage" again after that happened on his channel. So, that was.
I don't know if you saw,
brilliant.
but you can see my chat go by because I saw this live and I was like, "Oh my god, Halloween's better."
Oh my god, that was.
Isn't that great though?
Oh my god, that was brilliant. I'm gonna have to go back and find some of the EFAPs that he's been on and see catch more of his live stuff like that. That's so fun. Oh, cool beans. Greg Kirby. So it's confirmed. So it is confirmed that Anna's dog is green.
No, the pushed-in face. Everyone's seen Tulip. She's a little white puppy. She's a little peekaboo princess.
Teasing you because you like Baby
Yoda?
Baby Yoda better. Oh, she be a hi. Don't worry, I like you better than dogs right now because you're a little you. A little boy, are you getting agitated? You need to get more pain pills soon. Mark C says, on a sad note, Michael J. Fox is retiring from all acting due to declining health. Oh, prayers and well wishes. Jeff, did you hear that? Jeff nodded. He had. That's sad. That was, coming obviously, but it's never fun to hear that about for all intents and purposes, good and decent people. So.
Oh, I don't know if you saw. I got an email. I don't know if you did. YouTube is now. They said they're changing their policy.
I saw it, but I haven't gone through yet.
Oh, so I'll read it to you verbatim. YouTube's right to monetize. YouTube has the right to monetize all content on the platform, and ads may appear on videos from channels not in the YouTube Partner Program, which means if you're not monetized, they can monetize your video and you don't get any money. They do.
So they can just choose to monetize your videos and take your money.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, so basically, how I gave you advice is just start another channel and see where it goes. Now, I don't think that they're going to give anyone a partner program now, because why would they when they're going to just put if that's part of their policy saying, oh, when you sign up for YouTube and we have, we're going to put ads on your video anyway. So what is going to be their reason for giving you monetization? None, because then that takes away revenue from them.
Royalty payments and tax ruling for creators entitled to revenue payments. Such payments will be treated as royalties from a U.S. tax perspective. So that, while it sounds like it only directly affects our taxes, it affects more than that. Which, well, on the one hand, so I don't know what the tax code is. On the one hand, that could be really good for us in the sense that we don't pay. We won't pay income tax, the same income tax on it. We shouldn't theoretically, because I don't think. Well, I don't know, because royalties, I believe, still count as income. So I don't know how that would change things for us. It may change what they're required to withhold. But what it means though is that if we're not being treated as we are given a percentage of profit, but we're getting treated as we are given royalties off of YouTube's profit, off of our work. We are being recategorized to have fewer rights as creators on YouTube's platform. Guys, if you're not seeing these as warning signs to jump ship, it's all there. any creators out there too, if you want to talk to me privately about some of the other avenues I'm exploring for my creation moving forwards because of YouTube, because of this stuff, please feel free to reach out to me privately. The email address is right on the main page, as well as, the social media links are all out there. But if you are a creator and you're not seeing these as major red flags towards the way, exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this stream, is that YouTube is changing its methods. It does not want to be a primary site to host creators anymore. It wants to be a site that established creators, vetted creators, people who are known quantities can use as supplementary material, because they want to avoid, I guarantee you, they want to avoid all the controversy that Facebook and Twitter have been embattled in for so many years now about what they're choosing to censor, what they're choosing to show. YouTube's already taken a lot of flack for that from both sides, saying, one claiming they don't do enough to censor conservative content, one saying they do too much. So they're trying to shift their entire model to not have to fucking deal with this. So basically anybody that brings any hint of controversy to their platform is just going to get shadow banned or booted or demonetized. That's just what's going to happen. So you take my word for it or don't, but the information's all here for you. And if you're not making contingency plans, you're going to be stuck on the ship when it goes down. So
cool beans. Is there anything else? Because I do actually have to get going soon, because I'm supposed to be streaming with Drunk at 7.
Yeah, that's important. So, ow! Pancake, ow!
Did he bite you?
Yeah, he's feeling rambunctious, and he started playing. I'm wearing a robe, and he started playing with the robe and biting the robe, and he didn't realize that I had skin underneath it. So he took a chunk out of it. Poor little boy. He's probably feeling agitated because the pain medication is probably starting to wear off. So that's the last thing that I'm going to put out there for you guys. Just if you are able to even just to share it around, I know not everyone's able to give, and I totally get that. But if you can even just share it around and help maybe get the attention of people who can. We're still dealing with the financial fallout of this operation. And we are poised for the possibility of one that is time and a half or double and a half more expensive if it grows back. So that crowdfunder's out there. There's a little video on his channel also about it too, with the links that you can send around as well. Also, you can subscribe to his channel. He's put out a little science video that he pre-recorded later this week. But so that's that. So, and if you can't do any of that, and if you have no one to share it with and can't give, just if you can send love, prayers, good wishes to Shapancake for his recovery, and just, put it out in the universe that nothing's going to grow back in there, I would really appreciate that. That's where I'm focused on now.
Fingers crossed for the baby.
Yes. Anna, any things? What are you working on? What do you want to promote? What do you want people to check out? Oh, fuck, I almost forgot about one really important thing.
Something that I'm working on that all too well that I'm probably going to have to talk to you about after we get off air. So Jeff and I are actually collaborating on something. Jeff has Jeff is going to be relaunching his comic stealing solo. So I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it helped me so I got it after I had met Jeff and all of the guys from World Class Bullshitters. I had listened to their show because, I really liked Jeff's channel, like after I got introduced to him via the High Council, because Jeremy told me about it. And then I listened to the show, and I really used to enjoy Jeff's show, Good Morning Pop Culture, because of course I was always driving to work, and he's, has a podcast where he's like, oh yeah, so like the new bat suit. And I'm like, do I want to listen to some dude like actually talk about like the bat suit and all this cool stuff? Or do I want to listen to radio and get lectured about fucking political shit and listen to shitty music? I'm like, I'm going to take pop culture any day. And then of course, the second I saw him and Jesse look at each other, it's like, and
that's the funny thing is you raved to me about how cool he was before I ever met him.
I knew you guys were going to get along.
It was just really funny too, because it was like, obviously Jeff and I ended up becoming this thing, but it was like it was funny too, because like I had a little bit of that, and maybe it was just that pre-crush already, that knowing, because you had said something about like, because we had talked, at Celebration about like, oh, we're excited to meet them and hitting them up, and like and you had said, oh, you and Jeff chat occasionally on Messenger and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I want to chat with Jeff on Messenger sometimes.
Well, it's funny because Jeff and we only like I didn't know that Jeff was an artist, I think, until the first time I was on the High Council. And then because I always like Jeff's content and I like the way that he carries himself. I really like the fact that Jeff doesn't get involved in YouTube drama and he stays very neutral and things. Like even when they had High Council episodes, like, oh my God, the one with the person that will not be named, where they just like cuss the living shit out of that person. But it's like Jeff is he's a very centered person, and so I liked that, because if you watch somebody's content, you know exactly the way that their attitude is, and oh yeah, fuck this person, and I don't get a lot. Like Jeff didn't get involved in any of like the YouTube drama between other channels and stuff, but then also I liked his content. And then when we were all hanging out, because you guys left early from Celebration and you guys went out and got hammered while I was still at Celebration because I was drawing stuff. And then when I came and met up with all of you guys later, and that's when I met Kendo and Nick and Dion. And so it was reading the comic after meeting them. It's like this, when I was like, oh yeah, who's the one that like kidnaps Harrison Ford? And they're like, oh yeah, it's Kendo. And then it's like when I'm reading it and I can hear it in their voices. And I know exactly how this would actually happen in real life. And so it added that extra, like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like reading a comic book about my friends, And so it made it more special, especially since I had met them. But so I think that's why so many people enjoy it, because listening to their podcast for so long and because Jeff does the podcast with all of them. I don't think any of them really have their own channels. It's just the world-class bullshitters. So when we were at this is how far back this project goes, guys. We were at Celebration and Jeff approached me about doing a Fandom Menace cover for it. And of course, things got pushed back because Jeff, I think the comic wasn't out by that point. So
no, he was still working on the first.
Yeah, the comic didn't come out until you guys were living together.
Yeah, and so everything got pushed. Well, the first printing came out later that year. But then everything had to get, got way pushed back because of the reprint, and then us having to fulfill it on our, and all that shit. So yeah, that was the delays.
But this is something that he had brought up to me back at Star Wars Celebration when we first met in person. And so, we had time, everything was worked out. He, had shipped out the book. He's ready to do the second run of the book. And so he asked me to do the cover. And so I said, yes, I'm totally down. It's going to be an awesome project. And it's been one of the most easiest collaborations I've ever, worked on, because usually collaborations, it's like pulling teeth to get me to agree. Cause I've been in some that it's like, fucking shoot me, man. Cause people are not easy to work with sometimes. And so this has just been, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you guys on this. And so Jeff actually released the mailing list for it. So I think I have the link. Let me see if I can drop it in the chat.
I just posted it.
Okay.
I just did. And then I'm just gonna bring it up so people can see what you're seeing right now. So see what you can see right now from here. So we're actually going to have more stuff. So it's been fun because I really had nothing to do with the actual creation of the cover. I really got to be the liaison for the planning sessions to give my outside opinion, and feel lucky enough that these two incredibly amazing artists took my advice on anything and actually listened to my input. So here is the main, here's the pre-launch page. You can see the logo for the Fandom Menace edition. Pretty soon it's going to be updated with a little teaser of the cover as well. And we're going to be, now I get to get involved. So I'm very excited about this part. I'm going to be working with Jeff throughout this launch, and you too, Anna, on, so for the launch itself, we're doing some teasers and trailers for it. But then we're going to have fun with a little 4D launch on this. So we want to create some more material, documentary, mockumentary even around this too. So we want to do some we want to do a little bit of a documentary about this. So you guys will get to see some more fun things. So Anna, I'm going to grab you for some interviews and stuff like that. So we're going to put together, everything you could possibly want about all this. is going to be there. So I feel really like I'm going to jump in and get a little more involved with this too. And now, as you can see, if you scroll down a little bit and read the text at the bottom, day one only, there's an exclusive High Council cover featuring the OG members, drawn by Jeff as well. And it will only be available on the first day of the campaign. So definitely get on the mailing list so you do not miss that first day, because if you don't get it then, it's going away and you'll just have to spend thousands of dollars on eBay when somebody decides to resell it later.
Yeah, look at the stuff that happens with Ethan's covers. But I'm so excited I cannot wait. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm really excited to see everyone's reactions to this.
I am too. People are going to be so into it, and it's incredible. There is no world in which people don't go totally gaga for it.
It's so hard not to share it with everybody.
Right? Like, I've had to stop Jeff. Like, he's like, I'm like, that's too much. Don't show them that much. Because he's like, I want to show them. Like, no, not yet. Don't give him. I don't want him to give you anything before we really drop it. But
the only people I've showed are people that are in it, and I'm just like, are you is this okay? Is this okay? Like, I showed the one person that I sent to you guys, and you're like, oh my God, that looks just like them. I sent it to them, and I said, is this okay? And they're like, holy shit, that's amazing. And I was like,
yay! Oh my God, that's awesome. Somebody said,
I was like, thank you, because I was the person. I'm like, oh my God, please don't rip me a new one.
I can imagine that would be the case. Andrew Matthews says, look up at Popular Puppies on Twitter for cuteness. Thank you. I just looked it up and I just followed it because puppies are cute.
Yes, everyone go sign up for this. I'm so excited. I'm working on a cover for Drunk as well, and actually that's the stream that I'm going to be going to shortly. Nice. But so I got lots of projects in the work. My art book will come, but I am so excited about this. So please sign up for the mailing list, and then when it comes up, I'm so excited to see everyone's reaction.
Greg Kirby says, shortly I am getting a teen burger from A&W. I am very excited for you, Greg Kirby. That's making me a little hungry. But I'm mostly excited for this project, which is going to be baller. I'm so excited. I've just spammed the link. I dropped the link in the chat 3 times since we shared this, because that's how excited I am for this project, even though I didn't do jack shit to create it. It looks that cool. I am that excited for it. You guys be that excited for it. So
tomorrow I'll show a preview of the High Council cover on the podcast at 8:30.
Oh, tight. So if you're on the podcast tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, World Class Bullshitters, Jeff will show you a little sneak preview of the High Council cover. So.
You haven't even shown me yet.
Well, we can do that momentarily. So, but great, awesome. Thank you to everyone for showing up today. Thank you to everyone for sharing the Pancakes GoFundMe, signing up for this link, being here. All of Anna's links are in the description as well. So make sure you're sub to her channel, her live channel, and her art channel, so you never miss any of her content. Anna, any last thing you want to share?
Sign up for the mailing list. Please, please, please subscribe to my art channel. I'm going to start doing live streams on there, and I'm going to be fixing all of those She-Ra characters.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. Also, I squealed earlier. My channel passed 155,000. So thank you so much, everyone. It's been very slow because I didn't put out videos for a month because I was working. But 5 is my favorite number, so I've been waiting for this.
Yay!
Now the next... thank you.
It'll be great when you get to that big 555,000.
That would be awesome, and I would say just stop because I like that it's all 5s. But,
you'll just go through it, go in and manually unsubscribe people when you get too high.
YouTube will probably do that for me, but
right. I mean, let's be real. So thank you again for everyone being here. Thank you for joining us for the Matriarchy. Respect women, and remember, practice makes wrong. So to the mindless mob, to everyone, good night.